morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Let me just pull up the show notes and then edit them. To keep your community positive. So today we're talking about how to keep your community positive. Good morning, Beck. Beck, hello from Australia. Good middle of the night to you. Hello, Sorella Fines, Nietzsche. Welcome in. Welcome. Hi, Dave from Alberta. Good morning. How are you? Welcome in. Hello, I Spy Collectible. Hello. Moderate. Hello. Welcome in. Joe Will. Yes, very sparkly. I decided to be all sparkles and light because we're talking about a subject that doesn't get talked about enough because it doesn't happen very often on Whatnot. So but we're talking about it because it's going to increase more on Whatnot Canada. So we're going to talk about it. Melody, good morning. How are you? Oh, sorry. Need to pull my hair down. You need this today? I need this too. I need this too. I think we all need this. Good morning, Raven Moon Shop, Spinder. Good morning, Polish Shop. Joe Will is here. Raven Moon Shop. All the shops are here. How did that happen? It's like Shopapalooza. I love it. Good morning. Sparkle is your favorite color? Beck Halal says, yes, this is a topic I've been having many of the Aussie community call to talk to me about. Yeah. As our community grows, it's going to happen a little bit more often. I can say though that in the US market, this doesn't happen as often as you would think, that negativity comes into your shows, but it does happen every once in a while. So good morning, Blue Eyes. Good morning, Vanessa. Good morning, Pika and Chew. I like that. Pika and Chew. Dodge forklift. Good morning. I didn't know Dodge made forklifts. I guess they do. Wow. Learn something new. The more you know. Okay, sorry. I need to just adjust here a little because I'm in the middle of boxes right now. Yes, welcome in. Beck, I will boop you. Boop. Thank you, Dave from Alberta. I'm if I put a moderate beside you, it doesn't mean that you need to do work. I'm just literally just giving some people the power in case we do have trouble. So this is my recommendation: is if you know people and you trust people, when they come in, just moderate them. You're not asking them to work, and you can even tell them privately, like, if I moderate you, I'm not asking you to work. It's just if I need backup for some reason, that hopefully you'll have my back. Maybe not. I'm sure you guys all will. Petals and Pockets. Good morning. Kalosh. Good morning. How are you? Good morning. A Lulu. Welcome in. Huge glove save. Ooh. Stopped it here. Stopped it there. Stopped it down below. Good morning. They are some fancy glasses. I thought they went with the sparkle, so I went with the sparkle. Thank you, Petals and Pockets. Richard's Vintage. Welcome in. Thanks for joining. Okay, let's get into it. Oh, I'm glad. PB&J, hello. Let's get into it. So today's topic is how to keep your community positive and Whatnot. So we're gonna try and keep this as positive as possible. And because it's easy to fall back into negativity and dwell on negativity. But I want to give you all, oh shoot, I forgot to put do not disturb on. Very important, Kim. Oh, there we go. Okay. I want you all to be prepared as Whatnot Canada grows, and Whatnot in general grows around the world. They're hiring in Japan right now. I was looking at their careers website. And not that I'm looking for a job with Whatnot, I'm just a curious person. And they have openings for the Japan market now. They're going into Japan, y'all, which will be awesome for you in Australia, I think, Beck, because that's pretty close. Good morning, Vintage Buyback. Kelly Irish, how are you? I think that'll make a huge difference. Be able to open up to the Japan market. I mean, it's probably gonna hurt the Pokemon people in Australia, but maybe not. I don't know if you sort and luxury folks, right? Because a lot of luxury folks source from Japan, but now you'll be able to source from luxury sellers in Japan directly on Whatnot, which I think is really cute. Cute, not cute. Awesome. Okay. So, hello everybody and welcome in. Thank you, Kailash. How are you doing? Today we're going to talk about something that every seller should understand, but hopefully won't have to deal with very often. Um, oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Relove by Maisie. How are you doing? Um, and okay, so this doesn't happen very often, but it's important to be prepared, and that's what we're about. I was a girl guide, so be prepared. Um, before this is how to keep your community positive when something awkward, negative, or disruptive happens in chat or outside of chat. We're going to talk about in and outside of chat. Before we get into any strategies, I want to say something really important right off the top. And if you're listening on YouTube right now, afterwards is replay, like put this in your head and keep it there. Don't fast forward past this. One of the things I love about Whatnot is the community. Most shows, almost all shows, are positive. Most chats are friendly. Almost all chats are friendly. Most buyers are supportive. Almost all buyers are supportive. That is one of the things that makes this platform feel special compared to a lot of other places online, the community. So, this workshop is not about making people afraid that every show is going to be full of problems. It's not. Yeah, this is Canada. Exactly. This has not been my experience on Whatnot over the past 3 years. I've been on Whatnot for 3 years. I've been on Whatnot when we had US folks, more US folks in my show than Canadian folks. Um, I I've streamed a lot of hours on Whatnot. So I've streamed a lot, especially in the last 2 years with the strike. I was on almost every single day. So I've streamed a lot on Whatnot, and I've rarely had any issues. I can count them on one hand. So this workshop is not about making people feel afraid that every show is got to have problems. Um, and it's not the experience of most of the sellers that I talk to. But occasionally, and I mean really super occasionally, something happens that throws the energy um, of the room off for a minute. And this happened to me on Wednesday. If you were in my Wednesday show, I got thrown off for a minute, and I held on to it longer than I should have. I didn't let it go. It kind of sat in the back of my head through the rest of the show. I don't want that to happen again. And so I'm giving myself strategies to work on, and then I'm sharing those with you. And we're going to have Kyle from I Spy Collectibles, Deals on Style, I Spy Luxury. Kyle's going to be on um, um, later on in the show to share his experience and kind of do a little workshop with us. Um, so maybe sometimes this is what happens. Somebody gets upset because they were outbid and they get a little bit too upset. Somebody says something rude or inappropriate in a show. Sometimes people come in looking for attention, you get trolls. Sometimes someone is having a bad day and it spills into the chat, and we're going to talk about how to deal with that compassionately. These moments are rare, but when they happen, they can feel surprisingly big when you're one person live on camera and you're trying to keep the show moving, right? Um, so most of my shows are really positive, and they're fun. People are laughing, we're finding cool items, we're giggling about the items, we're chatting, and that's one of my favorite parts. Hi, Final Girl. That's one of my favorite parts of selling on Whatnot. But during a recent show, a buyer got upset because they were outbid by another regular buyer, and it caught me off guard. Not because it, Mostly because it doesn't happen very often. Um, but also when you're live, your brain suddenly goes, and this is when I go back to psychology, right? I talk a lot on Saturday shows about psychology. My brain suddenly went, okay, how do I respond to this without making it worse? And that's the moment that eventually you're going to probably experience something like that. Something small or big, but mostly something small can throw off the energy of the room for a second. And the trick isn't avoiding these moments completely, because they're going to happen sometimes. The trick is knowing how to calmly bring the room back to what the show is actually about: selling, having fun, and building a good community. So the goal of today's workshop is very simple. It's not to make you worried about the problems. It's actually the opposite. The goal today, my goal today, is to make sure that if something ever happens to you like this, you already know how to handle it calmly, practically, and professionally so that you can bring the focus back to the selling and back to the fun. So today we're going to be talking about a lot. There's a lot of pages today. I'm using recycled paper, by the way. I mean, so if you're wondering what the heck it says on here, that's not what I'm going to be reading. Today, we're going to talk about how positive communities form. So, how to create a positive community to begin with, how to engage with your viewers, how to handle the occasional negative comment, how to deal with trolls, how to respond to harassment and intolerance, how women sellers can respond when they're sexualized in chat, because unfortunately that still happens. It's the 2020s, but yet we're still there. What to do if you have mods, and also what to do if you don't have mods. So if you're a newer seller and you don't have mods yet, I'm not going to be telling you to get your mod to do this. I'm going to say, if you have a mod, do this. If you don't have a mod, do this. Um, when you should remove somebody from your show, and when to block somebody completely from your shows in the future. Also, how to report inappropriate behavior to whatnot, and how to protect your own mindset as a seller. How to respond when someone shares something sad or deeply personal in the chat, which can sometimes happen, which isn't, they don't mean it to be negative. It's because they feel like they're part of the community and they're with friends and they feel safe and they share something, but how to respond to that without bringing the entire show down. And what to do, and what to do if, and this is very, very rare and whatnot, but what to do if someone talks about harming themselves or harming others. So before I start, I want to ask a really quick question of the room. Has Of the sellers here, or actually for everybody, sellers and buyers, has anyone here ever had an awkward moment happen in a chat when you're in a show, either live in a show or you're watching a show? Um, has anyone had that experience? If you have, put up some emojis or just tap the screen if you don't want to say blue eyes and Vintage. Yes, Final Girl Material did have, that was one of your first shows too. It was your very first show. Beck has, Vintage has seen it. There's lots of hearts going up, so we've seen it at some point. Sorella Fine says I've had private message harassment. Yeah. Final Girl Material was your very first one. Fortunately, Mama Leah was there, if I recall correctly, so she helped you out. Like, mod me now. Um, so so you are not alone if this has happened to you before. And if you're a newer seller and this hasn't happened to you, this may never happen to you. Again, I've been on Whatnot for 3 years. I have I've sold a lot, and I have been on for a lot of hours. And again, it's like a handful of times that it's been very disruptive. Um, so every seller who does enough shows at some point is going to eventually hit a moment like this. So I want to have you prepared. So, first and foremost, the seller sets the tone of the show. Um, Beck says, was modding a Sydney show when the Jewish shootings happened on Bondi Beach, Australia, and some people had family there. It was a very hard moment. Yeah, that is definitely when something like that happens, where it's like a public, it's a disaster, really, right? It's a tragic event. That's a moment to stop your show and talk about it. You'll look callous if you don't. You'll look like you don't care if you don't stop for a minute, even to just say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that happened. That is horrible. Let's all just take a moment of silence, and pray, and or send up, whatever you want to do, pray or send signals up to the universe, and just let's have a moment of silence to think about those who have been hurt or killed and their family." And then just pause and then go, "Thank you so much for telling us about that. Oh my goodness. Okay, it's going to be hard to get back to the show, but let's try." You don't want to end your show unless you do, unless you're also personally affected by it, you can just be like, okay, well, let's take a minute. And then, you know what, guys, I got to go because I have a friend who lives like 2 doors down from Bondi Beach. I need to go. No one's going to blame you for that. Okay. So, uh, your community reflects you. So it's really important that you set the tone in your show, and um, you don't have to control every single person. You can't control every single person, but your tone and your reactions, the boundaries that you set, and your consistency shape the room more than most people realize. If you are calm, fair, welcoming, steady, your regulars will usually mirror that. Those are the kind of vibe that you're bringing to your audience. Your audience is going to reflect back on you. If you're reactive, sarcastic, oh God, combative, or constantly dragging out conflict, the room starts to feel tense. And you don't need that. It's supposed to be light and fun and friendly. That's the vibe I think that most people want to give. Um, so think of your show like hosting a gathering at your house. If you were going to have a party, maybe you're like me and you don't like to host parties at your house, mostly because there's no room, because there's too much stuff. Um, but you are the host of this room. I'm the host of this room with all of you. So I have to set the tone. You can't control everything, but you can shape the atmosphere, and people will take cues from you. So they watch how you greet people. Um, they watch how you handle frustration. They watch how you treat winners and non-winners. That's why I try to, as much as possible, if there was a battle, I thank the winner, congratulate the winner, and I also thank. I say if I couldn't notice everybody who bid, I will just say thank you so much to everyone who also bid. I appreciate you. Um, Watch how you respond when someone crosses the line, and we're going to talk about how to do that. And over time, those repeated moments become the culture of your room. So, a positive community doesn't happen by accident. It gets built, protected, and reinforced. So, when I say the seller sets the tone, I don't mean you have to be perfect. No one is. I certainly am not. You have to be the leader. You're the host. You are hosting your show. There are people who are coming into your room. Think of it like a room. They're coming into your room. They are being entertained by you and or taught by you, but you are the host. Um, so, how positive communities form. Before we talk about the negativity, good morning, Ali. I really want to talk about how the good stuff gets built. So, because strong communities are often the best defense against occasional negative moments. And I saw that this week. Um, the two negative moments that we had this week in my shows um, was was a continuation of the first one, and my room helped protect me. My moderators helped protect me and protect the energy of the room. And I think that's so important. Hey, Jude's Closet, how are you? Because positive communities are built through repeat signals. So you don't need one big speech that you do at the beginning of every show. There's it's repeated signals. So first, acknowledge. People like being seen. When you say hi, welcome in, nice to see you again. How are you doing? How are the kids? That matters. When you can remember, you don't have to remember everybody. But if you recognize someone, just say, hey, DJE, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you. That's just a little bit. And I do actually appreciate you. I just saw your name. um, when you notice a new person and make them feel included, like Dalikita, welcome in. Thanks for coming in today. Um, People feel safer in spaces where they understand the vibe. If your room is usually friendly, fair, upbeat, your regulars know that they're what they're walking into. Also, fairness. Always be fair. Buyers notice when you treat people fairly. Do you respect all buyers and not just the big spenders? Do you thank all of your winners? Do you protect winners from if do you stay fair when someone expresses frustration? Do you keep the auction moving without creating chaos? Fairness builds trust. And the last one is participation. When a chat feels interactive, people feel invested. So ask questions of your community. How are you guys doing? What would you like to see next? I'll ask it, or I'll put up a poll and say, especially when I'm doing books and ephemera shows, I put up a poll now and say, do you want to do books next or ephemera? And everybody votes. And then democracy wins. Um, Ask people to like put up some emojis. Like everybody right now, put up emojis. If you're a seller or you want to get follows, put up an emoji. We got 23 people in the room. Let's put up your emojis so everybody can follow everybody else. There we go. Thank you. Look at all those emojis. Everyone boop on those and follow. Look at that, Beck from Australia. I love it. Look at all the awesome emojis. I love Kailash. I love your emojis. Just a doll. What sweet emojis. Jude's closet with you dancing. She'd be dancing. Yeah. Michelle's got a smile. Are you on your computer? um if you do colon and then like heart and then colon and hit enter, it should show a heart. Emoji party, exactly. We're having an emoji party. So for example, like I Spy Collectibles, I Spy Luxury do like bananas in the chat when like, the price is bananas and it's a great deal. Bananas in the chat. It's fun, right? It's fun. It's interactive. Um, Make sure that you thank your winners and your bidders. Let the room feel alive. And then we're going to be talking about the fifth most important element, which is protection of your community. Communities get stronger when the host will step in if someone starts to try and make the room uncomfortable. That doesn't mean over policing little tiny things. There are oftentimes I will just like, I'll let things slide. If I'm in a chat show and it's about something else and it's like I can see that the chat is handling it, I will just carry on. I will not give it more air than it needs. So it means that people are not on their own if someone crosses the line, that they feel like they can come into this room and it's a safe place. And Kyle is going to be talking more about that when he comes on a little bit later. So understanding why negative moments are so disruptive. So before we jump into what I want to say, I want to talk about why these moments can feel so jarring and upsetting. Yeah, PB&J says sometimes people can misread the chat too and the tone, and it's important to reflect the tone that's positive. Absolutely, PB&J, that does happen. You're totally right. Sometimes when an awkward moment or a negative moment happens in your shows, again, this is very rare, but we're going to talk about what to do about it. One awkward or negative comment can throw a seller off. That reaction is very normal. You're not alone. I got thrown off. When you're live, you're doing a lot of things at once. You're trying to show the item, you're reading the chat, you're monitoring the bids, you're thinking about your pace, you're trying to remember what it is you're going to pick next. You are watching so much stuff. You're trying to keep your energy up. You may be you may be writing notes. You're thinking about what price you're going to give for the next item, and you're trying to keep things moving. So when a negative comment pops up in the chat, it doesn't just feel like a regular comment. It feels like a disruption to the whole rhythm of your show. It can break your focus, it can shift your mood, and it can make you self-conscious. And that happened to me. So this is why these moments feel bigger than they actually are. So it's important to step back and say, okay, this is just a moment in time, and we're going to push past it. The brain, though, goes into quick reaction mode. The brain is programmed to react quickly. And it's important to make sure that you don't react negatively if you can help it. So sometimes, because your brain is saying you need to fix this right now, it can lead to over explaining. It can lead to you arguing with the person. You can get flustered, or it can lead you to freezing and saying nothing because you're just absolutely shocked, right? Um, one of the biggest skills you can build as a host is learning what you do that is learning that you do not have to react at full emotional volume to every disruption, and you should not. You can pause, identify the type of problem, take a beat, take a beat, choose the level of response that fits. And we're going to talk about that and how helping you with some tips. And that brings us to the most important part of this workshop. We're going to talk about 3 types of disruption. Um, I find it helpful to kind of sort them into moments because then it helps organize, at least for my brain. It helps me organize. Because once you know what kind of situation you're dealing with, your response gets much more clear. So type one of disruption is the emotional reaction of someone in your room. This is probably the most common type of awkward moment. Someone loses a bid and gets angry. They feel disappointed. They missed bidding because they looked away from their phone for a second. And I've had people say, "Well, I was looking away. I didn't get a chance to bid." Well, sorry, sorry, can't help it. Someone says something a little snippy because they're frustrated. This isn't trolling. This is just emotions spilling out onto the chat. These are, we're friends and a community, but there's also strangers in the room. And sometimes people feel more comfortable getting emotional with strangers than they would with people they know and love. um, Auctions are emotional by nature. The nature of auctions and the way that it works on the brain psychology is that it creates excitement, and that excitement creates more emotional responses. Yeah, and as PB&J says, sometimes people have mental health issues we know nothing about, so we have to kind of just take what take what is in front of us and have some compassion. um, People get excited, they picture themselves winning that item, they fall in love with that item, and then they don't win that item. They feel all that tension of the bidding, and then when they lose, sometimes that disappointment comes out sideways. Um, Ishi definitely does get excited, don't you? So, your best response for this type of emotional response is to normalize it and redirect. So you can say, I know losing a bid can be frustrating. I understand that. I've been there. Or let's keep and then you redirect to let's keep the chat respectful and keep going. Or we've got some more items coming up. So I know losing that bid seems frustrating, but I've got some really awesome items coming up that you might be interested in. It's also not to let them turn the room into a complaint session. You do not want to give them an opportunity to start the ball rolling on a complaint session. You acknowledge the feeling, you remind everyone in the room of the tone, and you move forward. So, type 2 is the attention seeking behavior. This is your troll territory, trolls. So, these are the people who want a reaction rather than a resolution. Oh, I'll get to that, Sorella, cuz yeah, I'll get to that. Don't worry. Um they may be sarcastic, they may be baiting, they may be trying to get under your skin, they may be trying to make the host stumble. They're just trying to be disruptive, to upset people. Um, that attention seeking behavior needs to be shut down quickly. The biggest mistake with this type is over engagement. And I admit, in the past, especially when I was live when I used to do TikTok lives, I would, they always say, don't feed the trolls. I would start conversations with them because it was amusing to me because I wasn't selling. I was just being on TikTok live. But when you're in the middle of selling, you do not want to have your show derailed by having a long conversation with a troll who's just trying to get you upset. Um so because once you make the troll the center of the show, they've won the attention. So you do not want to give them what they want. So with this category, your approach is ignore if you possibly can, warn briefly if needed, and remove if it continues. But you must actually, people are reading it. People read that chat. So it is important that you don't feed that troll, but you need to say, we're not doing that here, or let's keep the chat respectful, or we're moving on. However, if you come into one of my shows and you say something transphobic, you're getting a lecture because I have a trans stepson. So you're getting a lecture if you try to do that in one of my shows. I won't be professional there. I'm just saying. Don't do as I say, not as I do. Don't do that. So short, calm, and done is the best option. However, if someone comes in and sexualizes you, you can say something like, Beck says me too because I have a daughter with disabilities. Yeah, if someone comes in and says the R word, We're not doing that here. Goodbye. Someone comes in and says something, oh my gosh, Raid, Lisa, Rob, welcome in. Thank you so much. I'm going to allow to moderate. Please, please follow Lisa, Rob. Let me welcome in everybody. Follow. Mention in chat. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Dave. Everyone, please follow Lisa, Rob. Welcome in everybody. We're doing a seller chat show right now. We're talking about how to you had to deal with your first stalker yesterday. Oh no, sold to thrift. I'm so sorry. It doesn't happen very often on Whatnot, but we're up in Canada and it's increasing because we're getting busier up in Canada. And so I do seller chats every Saturday. Fridays I do Fashion Fridays where we interview a fashion seller and talk in general about selling on Whatnot. So please bookmark my shows and then I sell during the week. But today we are talking about how to deal with negativity in your shows when it occasionally happens. So we're currently on troll behavior. So the recommendation is to yeah, I know, Kailash. It didn't. It for some reason it didn't. It was okay with PayPal. We've had people person with multiple accounts go into women's shows asking inappropriate questions and being demeaning. Yeah, that's going to happen. And the best thing to do is say that's not here. Sometimes I'll say this isn't OnlyFans. This is Whatnot. Bye bye. I've had show me your feet. I've had show me your feet, and I'm like, you don't want to see them. But you know, it's that's another website. Go to that website. That's okay. um so let's keep so you can say we're not doing that here. Let's keep the chat respectful. We're moving on. Short, do not feed the trolls. And I'm going to talk about how to block and how to remove from shows. I will talk about that. So harmful and serious behavior is number 3. So this is the category that requires very strong boundaries. That includes harassment, bullying, misogyny, homophobia, transphobia, religious intolerance, sexualizing the seller, targeting buyers, credible threats like actual threats of violence, or other behavior that makes the room unsafe or hostile. Um, let's not, this is not a let's debate it category. This is a protect the room category because we have everybody from every walk of life in our shows. And you have no idea the person that just has a little username, what their background is. You don't know. You don't know if they have a disability. You don't know if they're gay or trans or they're um, they've suffered from Islamophobia or anti-Semitic hate. You don't know where their life has been, and you want to make sure that you protect everybody in that room from any type of hate. Period. Doesn't matter what kind of hate it is, it gets shut down. So your tone should be calm but extremely decisive. Okay, that comment is not appropriate here and not welcome here. We do not allow that in this show. Then you remove, you report, or you block as needed. Yes, report. Report is the most important thing, and we'll talk about how to report. The important thing is to remember this: a disappointed bidder is not the same as a troll. A troll is not the same as a harasser. A person in visible distress is not the same as a person spreading hate. When sellers learn to tell the difference, they become much stronger hosts because when you stop reacting to every situation as if it's the same emergency, the steadiness shows. So we're going to talk about, let's talk practically. Because I'm only on section 5. So let's get practical. Okay. Yeah. You got to report before you block. Because otherwise it's hard. You can still find them, but report, then block is my suggestion. Report, block. And if you're live in your show, the thing is that you'd have to stop your show in order to report their behavior in your show. You can't go afterwards and report it. So that's where, if you have somebody in the show who's a friend or friendly, ask them if they're willing to be modded, or just say, I'm going to, Allie, I'm going to mod you. Can you take care of that for me? And that's the signal to thank you, PJ Prissa. That's the signal. Allie knows that means, can you please report them for me, right? So if I say to if something happens in the chat and I say, okay, I just saw that, mods, can you take care of that for me? That's your signal. Please report that person. Um, that's really, it's really important, especially when it's at number 3, the misogyny, the sexualization, any of that. Yes, and there are times when, like Final Girl Material had an issue where people were coming in, they were getting booted out, they were creating another profile, and they were coming in again. But if you don't even acknowledge them, and you just keep saying, mods, can you take care of that? Your mods will just see, and they'll just like, hey mods, this is happening again. Can you just do me a favor? And anytime you see this, just do what you need to do. Then they'll know just to boot, 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 right? Report, block, and kick them out of your shows permanently. Take screenshots too. Screenshots are really important. So if your mods can take screenshots for you, that's really important to have that later on. Yeah, and as Beck says, mods can talk with each other, hidden messages, support each other. If you don't have mods, we're going to talk about what to do there. Um, it's so tempting to troll the troll, isn't it though? Kalosh says, if you have regular moderators, always stay in contact with your moderators, have like a regular meeting. PJ Princess, we've just had an uptick, slight uptick. Like, this does not happen very often, but it's a topic that I haven't covered in a while, so I thought it was important to cover it again. Okay, so let's get practical. A lot of sellers do not need more theory. You need words. You need to know what to say. So one of the things I want to emphasize to you is that you do not need a perfect speech. You don't. You don't need to outsmart the troll. You just need to, and you especially do not need to become a therapist on camera, and you don't need to win a debate, because this isn't a debate. This isn't a debate app. Like, go to TikTok if you want to do that. Find a debate show. Most of the time, what works best is short, calm, clear, and move on. Short, calm, clear, move on. So here's some examples for disappointment or frustration. I know losing a bid can be frustrating. Let's keep it respectful. Or, I get it. Auctions are emotional. We're going to keep going. Or, please don't take this out on the winning buyer. I know that one stings that you lost. We've got some great items coming up. For snippy or negative energy, let's keep the room positive. Simple as that. You don't have to answer what they say. Just say, let's keep the room positive. We're here to have fun. Let's reset and move on is another line you can take. And if they really push it and we haven't kicked them out yet, or your mods haven't kicked them out yet, I am not going to let the room get pulled off track. And then that's the moment I'm not going to let the room get pulled off track. We're here to have fun. I'm sorry. And mods, can you take care of that? Or if it's just you, you're going to boop on their picture, and then it's going to give you a whole bunch of options. And one of them is remove from show, report, and block. So you're going to, if you just want to kick them out that day and have them come back another day, boop to boop them out of the show for today. They can still watch your show, but they can't communicate back and forth, and they cannot bid. So for trolls, you can say, we're not feeding that energy here. That's enough. We're moving on. And this is not the direction we're taking the room. Just, nope, that's not the direction we're taking the room. Mods, can you take care of that? Or just take care of it yourself and remove them from the show. For harassment or intolerance, this is the important one. We don't allow that language here. This is a safe space. No misogyny, no homophobia, no transphobia, no religious intolerance, no hate, period. You can say, I'm sorry, but that crosses the line, and that's not acceptable in my show. And say, I'm acting on this right now, or my mods are taking care of this right now, folks. I'm sorry. One of the things that I often do, especially when you get those kind of comments, is I will ask the chat, I will say, everybody, can you do me a favor and flood the chat with emojis? So everyone, can we just flood the chat with emojis right now to push that out of the way? and my chat will come up. So everybody do it right now. Put up a bunch of emojis, and we're going to push the last thing that somebody said out of the way. Yeah, perfect. So you can say that, hey everybody, can you just do me a favor? Can we all just flood the chat with some fun emojis and let's get it out of the way? That just pushes it far enough away that no one's seeing it right in front of their face. And I've done that a few times in and or I will say in a if I'm a moderator and I see something, I will just start putting emojis myself into the chat and pushing it away myself before the seller has even said it. So the goal isn't to you're not trying to win. Thank you, Net Finds. Your goal is to steady the room. Your goal is to keep things positive. If your goal is to win, you can argue, but you're not going to actually win your audience. You're just going to win that you may win that argument with that hater or that troll, but you're not actually going to win your audience, and your audience is more important than that one troll who comes in. So some practical reset techniques. Sometimes the best thing you can do is not keep talking about the negative moment, as we've said. The best thing you can do is reset the room. This really matters because some sellers accidentally turn a small little conflict into a lot of content and time. Um, they start talking about the troll for 5 minutes afterwards. They repeat the comment. They explain how rude it was. And what I often say, if somebody says to me, "What just happened? What happened? What happened?" I'll say, "I'll like DM me. I'll talk to you about it later." Right? If they're a friend, or I'll say, it doesn't matter. It's nothing. Let's just move on." Right? Just that sometimes your chat will try to draw you in, not because they want drama, because they care. They care and they want to know what happened, right? So the best thing you can do is not to keep it going, um, and it suck all the time out of your room and all the energy out of your room. So when you do that, the person who's done the negative act, the troll, the hater, is actually the one who's getting the attention again. So a reset breaks that pattern. One of the simplest reset tools is one that I use, which is the emoji flooding that we talked about. So you can just say, all right, chat, let's flood the chat with emojis right now, drop some hearts. Let's push that negativity right out of view. And people will do it, especially those who do not like the negativity. They will instantly start going hearts, 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 smiley faces, happy faces, and they will flood the chat. Um, it does a couple of things at once. So first and foremost, it pushes the negative comment. I don't know why that was red chatted. PJ Princess, is that code for something? um it pushes the negative comment up and away. It gives your regulars something active and positive to do, right? I have no idea what it means. It's a very big word, and maybe I don't know. The PJ Princess put in, like, it looks like 100 billion is percent, and it came up as a red chat. So push that negativity right out of you. It gives your regulars a positive thing to do. It reminds the room that the community is stronger than that one person's disruption. And it helps your own brain stop staring at the comment. Push it out of sight. Ask your audience to help you push it out of sight. And if they're not responding, do it yourself. Just start doing it. Just start throwing a ton of emojis up and do it until it's all gone away. Like, do it yourself if you need to, but push it out of the way so it's no longer there. Um, and then here's some reset lines. Um, oh, that's too bad. Yeah. Like, and I would honestly, final go material, I would report that. If there's misogyny happening, that's not supposed to be allowed on Whatnot. Um, Vintan says, I think as the Canadian presence on the apps gets bigger, we will see these situations arise more often. Yes, we will. Unfortunately, it's the pain of growing big, right? So you can reset lines are like, all right, friends, let's reset. Let's go back to the fun. Who's ready for the next item? Drop your favorite emoji if you're still with me. Also, you can re-anchor back to the item. So just, all right, folks, let's get back to the item here. I've got this funny face. Just I don't know why I grabbed that. Um, So you can say, next up, I got something really awesome. Hang on, let me grab it for you because I'm excited to show this to you, and just totally refocus back to your selling. Pick something that you really love as your next one. Um, PJ Princess says, if I had audience members instantly type in block to remove. Yes, absolutely. Your audience will help you a lot. Um, okay, skipping a page, not a page, but um, so doing a reset like that is a great way to make sure that you're not staying in the negativity, you're not giving any more airtime to that person, and you're returning back to the people that matter the most, which are your community. Um, oh, that's cute, Beck. I'll have to hear that someday. Hey, megahertz. So, let's talk about if you have mods or you don't have mods, because newer sellers who don't have a lot of connections yet may feel like they don't have someone who can help moderate them. And I can tell you, for the first few months that I was on Whatnot, I was too self-conscious and too, like, I felt like I was asking a favor of people to mod. And I didn't want to put anyone else out, which is very much me anyways. So I didn't have moderators for the longest time. So you know what? People understand that if you put moderator on them, it just means you trust them. So, and I always say, if I mod a whole bunch of people at the beginning of a show, I will say, you know what? If I mod you, it doesn't mean you have to work. It just means that if something happens, I know you got my back. Um, Kayla says, I've kicked a lot of people out of shows and never thought twice about it. Sometimes it is really important. Protect your community. Protect your community. That your community is so much more important. Um, so let's talk about moderation, because some sellers operate in different setups. Some sellers have moderators and some don't. Both are workable, but the strategy changes a bit on how to deal with issues. So if you have moderators, mods are incredibly helpful. They're awesome. A good mod helps to protect the room without turning into a second host who controls everything. If you have mods, make sure that you're aligned ahead of time on a few things. So, um, I think I know that the people that I trust have a pretty much a similar attitude towards moderation, as in what counts as a warning, who gets removed immediately, what kind of comments should get reported, and what kind of tone I want my mods to use. I don't want to moderate someone who's then going to start arguing with the person, right? Um, I have moderators who will be positive and try to keep it positive and answer the person sometimes when necessary, just to keep it positive. I know those are the type of people that I tend to moderate, because I know that they're going to do the right thing. Um, so so a lot of so you don't want to mod escalating situations when you're trying to calm them. Um, that's really important. So they you do, because if they intensify the drama, they're just making it 10 times worse, because now your chat is seeing someone with the mod symbol starting to argue back and forth. If you see that, you need to shut it down right away and say, you know what, I appreciate you so much, Bill, for doing that, but let's bring it back. Let's reset and let's bring it back. And just say, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but let's bring it back to what we're here for, which is selling. Um, so if you do not have mods, a lot of sellers don't have mods, and that's okay, especially newer sellers. You can still manage your room effectively. The key is to simplify. You do not need 10 steps. There's no like flow chart that you need to follow. It's very simple. You've identified that there's a problem. You respond to it briefly in your show, remove them if necessary, and then reset the room. I would take a screenshot. I would take a quick screenshot. If you don't know how to do that on your phone, learn how to do that so you can take screenshots. Um, A's reruns, it doesn't have as reruns, it doesn't happen very often. We're talking about the occasional, it's like to prepare people. This is to prepare people in case it happens so it doesn't throw you off, because you've already got the tools available to you. Um, And Records from the Six says you wouldn't allow it in a regular store, so don't allow that garbage on your online store either. Exactly. Um, the old Rusty Coop says the only mods I know of are ones that have offered to help, but I'm afraid to say yes. Just say do it. They've offered to help. I mean, I don't even I don't even ask. You come into my room and I trust you, and I notice. I'm just gonna boop you. I call it booping. So I'll say, oh, hello, welcome in, Jeff. Boop, and I just I just tap, and so suddenly, like, you just suddenly got mods. Um, I literally know no one on Whatnot, and tomorrow's my first show. Congratulations. Everyone follow the old Rusty Coop. They're having their first show tomorrow. That's awesome. So if you already have met some people that you trust, that you like their shows and how they do things, and you feel like they have the same vibe as you and the same attitude towards things, then if they come into your room, just say, hey, Melody, thanks so much for joining. Would you mind if I modded you? Most of the time, if they'll say no, go ahead. You can say, I don't expect you to work, it's just if anything comes up. um that's yeah, it's okay. And it's okay for you not to mod. It's okay, you don't have to mod. You don't have to mod anybody if you don't want to. Take your time, feel things, because mods do have certain powers to kick people out of your shows or to block people. And you want to make sure that, or they could start like making announcements about who knows what. If you don't know the person, if someone comes into your room and says, hey, mod me, and you don't know them, don't mod them. Just say, no thanks, I'm good. Thanks for the offer, but I'm good. um okay, so not sellers who don't have mods need to have that prepared language, so those things to say that I said before earlier, and you can rewatch this on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So it's live right now on YouTube. When you're doing everything yourself, you're not going to have time to do it all. Take a quick screenshot so you can report it later to Trust and Safety if it was a hate comment or harassment, bullying. You do not want to have to reinvent your response from scratch when you're flustered. So just practice these techniques. It's one of the reasons why I encourage newer sellers to have a short list of go-to lines that they can say. Just kind of like have a post-it note with a few things that you want to say, um, up in front of you, so that you know quickly. Yeah, you got to work exactly. Um, you just want to have something up in front of you until you're more comfortable in your shows, so you have a few lines that you can say. But I'm telling you, you're probably not going to encounter any issues, so it's more just being prepared than anything else. um so it When your nervous system gets activated by a negative comment, it's important to have some prepared language available, just so you're ready and your brain has a go-to to say. And if you need to, a post-it note in front of you helps. All right, the next section that I want to talk about is women being sexualized in chat. This unfortunately happens too much. It's 2026, y'all. We should be way past this, but we're not. We've got a manosphere now, for crying out loud. So, this is a super important section, not because it happens all the time. And I mean, I'm old and I'm not so pretty. I'm not, you know, I don't get those, I don't get those comments. I'd probably be very excited if I did. I don't get those comments anymore, but a lot of women do. It happens, and it's yucky. It's as Krista says, it happens and it's yucky. You know, Final Girl Material, her very first show, she got like a series of ridiculous trolls trying to throw her off her game. Thankfully, she had 13 with ADHD in the room who was like her mama bear to help out, even though it was her first show. It's kind of like the way she met Leah. Um, so women selling live online, sometimes and too often get sexualized by viewers or trolls. That these can be comments about your body, your looks that go beyond normal compliments. Um, Suggestive remarks, flirtation that becomes invasive, people trying to turn the show into OnlyFans instead of Whatnot. Um, and this can be extra jarring because it's personal. And we as women get sexually harassed our entire lives. And you'd think we're equipped for it, but We're not, because it's wrong, and we shouldn't have to be equipped for this, okay? But this is the world we're in. Um, it can make you feel very exposed when you are trying to just sell some items. You're trying to run a business. You're trying to make some extra money to pay for your kids' hockey, or to put food on the table, or a roof over your head, or get that hydro bill that's overdue paid, right? Like, this is that you're not here for that. Um, it can make you really self-conscious. It can make the rest of the room uncomfortable, especially most most of the time it's other women who are in the room, and it can totally throw your focus off. So the first thing that I want to say to female presenting sellers, I want you to hear this. You do not have to tolerate it, period. You do not have to laugh it off if you don't want to. You do not have to reward it with attention, and you do not have to over explain to any single person in that room why it's inappropriate. It's inappropriate. It doesn't belong in your show. A short boundary is enough. Yes, AS reruns. I will show you how to block in a second. So you can say very simply, let's keep the chat respectful. This is a selling show. That comment isn't appropriate here. We're not doing that. And then you keep moving. And you show them the door. Yeah. If you've got mods, you say, mods, can you please deal with this? This is not welcome here, period. That's not welcome here. Thank you. You can go now. It's not about being dramatic. It's about boundary setting. And I think it sets a really important tone for the other women who are viewing, um, in your audience, who are viewing it and reading those comments, that they see you stand up for them as well, because they remember what that's been like for them too. And we've all, as if we're female presenting, we all experience it at some point, unfortunately too much. It's not just once or twice in our lives. um, but it's important to not get to just kind of, if you need to stop and take a breath, stop and take a breath, and then say, that's not what's here. Sorella Fine says, one thing I've learned is even a block person can still make reviews. Yes. Sorella Fines, are you're probably in the same situation that I am right now. You can look at my profile and see. Um, so it's really important that if you let that behavior linger, if you let that continue, then two bad things happen. First, it teaches that person that it's okay to do that. Second, it teaches the rest of the room that this host isn't going to protect them, that it's not a safe space for them as women to just come and shop, because they've got to see sexual harassment right in front of their faces. So it's almost like we're protecting each other when we say, no, you're not going to do this to me, you're not going to do this to any woman, it's not appropriate, period. Beck says we need to set the tone of the room. Exactly. So you want the opposite lesson. You want the room to know this is a respectful, safe place. Thank you, megahertz. Is respectful, safe place. The host is in charge, and inappropriate behavior gets dealt with right away. Make it a safe place. Now, sometimes the most effective thing after one of these moments is to reset immediately. And that's where the emoji flood technique that I taught you guys is brilliant. Just say, all right, chat, let's flood the, or you don't have to say chat. I know. All right, folks, friends, let's flood the chat with emojis right now. Can you all just throw up your emojis, and let's just flood all of that away? We don't need to see that poop in here. Drop some hearts. So let's push that out of view. Thank you, megahertz. That's the sportiest set of emojis I've ever seen. Yeah, put this in the show notes and direct chat to read the show notes. Yes, and Kyle's gonna have something for you all with that. Friends, let's lift the room back up. Let's get back to what we are meant to do here, which is have some fun buying some stuff. It helps, doesn't just help you clear the screen, it actually helps clear the mood. So and one thing I want you to remember is that comment was inappropriate, and that's that person. That doesn't reflect on you. Please don't internalize comments like that. That's that person and their twisted worldview. That's not, it's not really about you. It's about them. Um, so the sequence then becomes setting the boundary, saying that is not appropriate in this chat. Goodbye. Ask your mods or do it yourself, and I'll show you how to do it yourself to block and remove. Um, then you're going to reset the room, ask the chat to flood the chat with emojis for you, take a breath, and then get back to selling. All right. And then something else that happens sometimes is flirting, repeated flirting, and backseat hosting. How many times have you had someone who comes into your room and starts telling you how to sell? Now, when you're an early seller, we may come in and make recommendations. If you're like a new seller and you're struggling and we can see you're struggling to show, we might say, oh, try this, or if you tap on here and then do this, that'll work. But those backseat sellers, the backseat hosts who try to come in and tell you that you should be bundling, or you should be doing it this way, or you should be selling faster, or you should be going slower, you need to be able to yes, that's a good point, Dave. Is it okay if I say that out loud? Um, okay. So Dave said last night a lady was being generally rude and bullying the host, but was buying, so the host couldn't boot. That's a tough one. Yes, that does happen. Where you've had somebody who is buying and then is being rude at the same time. And Time Hop says me. Yeah. So yeah, we have some we're encountering that more. It's happening more in Canada. So that's where, you know what, I'm sorry, here's the question. If you've got 15 people in your room and one person who's trying to rule the room, is that fair to the other 14 people in the room? No. So that one person, if they cannot stop, you have to say, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I have other people in this room too, and I need to be fair to all of them. Time Hop says, I kept my grace. Good for you. Awesome. So I appreciate it, but I need to be here for everybody. This is a show for everyone. Um, we can't I cannot just do this show for you. If you would like to maybe if you want to, you could offer a private show and say, I can do a private show with you if you want, and then just make it, and then say, message me. And then you can always just like never have the time that they have the time. I'm kidding. You could offer that. You could offer to do a private show and say, sorry, right now I'm here for everybody in this room. Maybe this is a better thing for us to do in a private show. If someone had a buyer in your room and they started as and became a troll old woman, are you able to cancel their order and block them? You can cancel orders and then block them. Yes. The only thing is, Kalosh, is that Whatnot has changed its cancellation policies, and so there can be penalties, financial penalties, if you cancel. So it's important that you message trust and safety first to say, I have a problem with a buyer who's being disruptive in my shows. I need to cancel their orders. And but I'm concerned it's going to reflect on me. Um, I had a buyer who canceled a whole bunch of orders, but also still had an order from last week, and so put a negative review up. But I've responded to it as professionally as possible. Leg Brandon says, I've had a number of people try and dump on my products to try and get a better deal. Maybe it's because I'm still new, but I'm learning how to be firm. Good for you. Yes, people are going to come in and try and say negative things, and just say, well, isn't that special? I'm that special. You could do just, yep, okay, thank you. Thank you for your opinion. I'm that special. Um, so sometimes there are buyers who are going to try and dominate your attention. They're acting like they're co-hosting your show. Sometimes it's someone who's telling you how to run the room, what to sell, when to sell, how to price. How many times have been like, you shouldn't price it for that much, you should price it for more, you should price it for less. Or what your vibe should be. You should be going faster. You should be going slower. You need to smile more. Um, this matters because backseat hosting actually can drain the room. And so to be honest, if I've had someone who's been a repeated backseat um, host, a backseat host, I'll block them if they're becoming too disruptive. Um, Beck asks, PB&J. I don't know how many people got that pop culture reference. It's you have to be my age, I guess. Beck says, "What if it's reversed and the seller does wrong, is offensive, and refuses to put the refund through so they don't get penalties?" You can't do much about that if you cancel an order because of the seller. But you can cert I if they refuse the cancellation, there's not much you can do. But I would definitely report them to Trust and Safety. If you go into a show and that show feels so negative and wrong and full of hate and misogyny or whatever, report. Um, Rick from the Six, how are you? How does shipping work if additional product is bought throughout the show? You don't have to charge them anything. Whatnot takes care of it all. It's automatically done through Whatnot's system. You can learn more about shipping. The shipping bundling is the same in the United States and Canada, except that we have weekly bundling here in Canada. So it just automatically calculates based on weight. So just make sure your weights are higher. That you're higher than your shipped weight. So if you weigh something and it weighs 4 to 7 ounces, but when you ship it, it's going to be 8 to 11 ounces, then you select 8 to 11 ounces. War Martin says, I reported someone yesterday, they were selling stamps for 10 times catalog price. Woo, did they get it? Did they get it for 10 times catalog price? Because if they did, holy cow. Whew. Okay. So while backseat hosting, those backseat hosts that come into your room and try to tell you how to run your show, um, it it's not hate speech, but it certainly can be disruptive to your room. So here's some useful lines that I'm going to give you that you could possibly use. Um, Interesting. The majority of issues are U.S. stellar buyers. They cancel the order. Whatnot doesn't charge me, then slander. Oh, that's how can they? How can that's not fair? Sorella finds it all. Um, so I appreciate the suggestion, but I've got a plan for tonight. Or thanks so much, but I'm going to run my show my way today. Or thanks, but I'm going to keep us moving. Um, how about this? You let me host and I'll enjoy the show more when you're watching the show and I'm hosting. Um, Yes, and like Brandon says, one thing I noticed right away from my first show is other sellers are happy to support each other and stand up for you when things start to slide. Absolutely. That's the beauty of Whatnot. So this doesn't happen. This stuff doesn't happen very often, but when it does, I want you guys to be prepared. So if you get repeated flirtations or repeated inappropriate behavior that doesn't cross the line, but it's like it's there, but you just don't want that to continue, um, thanks so much. That's just not this kind of show. I appreciate the comments, but that's not this kind of show. Let's get back to the items, okay? Let's talk about the items instead. Um, you don't need a long speech, and you just need to, and you're not negotiating boundaries, you're setting your boundaries. You decide how much you want those backstreet hosts, backstreet, backseat hosts. You maybe they are backstreet too. Backstreet's back. All right. You decide how much you want those backseat hosts to control your show. And I say it should be 0. Um, you want to be just short, steady, and done. Vintage. Everybody. Yeah. Maybe you'll start when someone starts doing it, you'll just start singing that. Everybody, yeah, rock your body. We're gonna go back to selling now. Okay. So let's talk about reporting, removing, and blocking. Da-da-da-da. Reporting, moving, and blocking. We're here. This is where practical platform action comes into place, where I'm going to teach you how to actually do it. I think it helps to separate these 3 tools because they're a little bit different and they do different jobs. So, remove. You can remove someone from a show in a live room situation. If they're disrupting the show, they need to be removed from this room for today. Just removes them from this particular show. They could come back to a future show. So if they're having a bad day and they start getting really negative and complaining and you're just like, you know what, it sounds like you're having a bad day right now. um I'm sorry, but we need to keep this positive, and I'm just going to remove you from this show today. I hope that when you come back again, and just leave it like that. So remove is your first option. This is the right move when someone is just derailing the live moment, and they're not stopping. Like you've told them your boundary, you've said your line, and you're trying to move back to selling, and they keep coming back to it. That's when you say, all right, I'm going to remove you right now. Or mods, can you please remove this person for today, just for this show? Remove only removes them from the show. Please note that when you remove somebody, they can come back into the room and watch it. They just can't chat and they can't buy. So don't start talking shit about them after they go. If they've been booted and your mod says they're booted, don't just start saying, okay, so now let's talk about Melody. Oh my god, like, can you believe that? Can you believe what Melody just did? Don't do that, because they could be back. I know, sorry Vintage, you can't do that because they could come back. Sorry Mel, I saw your name, I was just joking. She knows I'm joking. Yeah, so she would love it. Melody would be there for the drama. But you never cause drama, so please. So blocking is the step two. Blocking is stronger. When you do that, you don't want any future interaction. This is appropriate when someone is repeatedly disruptive, harassing, sexualizing you, targeting other buyers, crossing boundaries in your direct messages, or making your space, the space that you've created, feel unsafe for your audience. Um, Please note that Whatnot actually has in its community guidelines for sellers that it is our responsibility as hosts to keep the community safe. It's actually our responsibility. If we let the chat derail, if we let the chat go wrong, we can get reported and we can get punished for what they did. So it's still your, even if you say, I'm just going to ignore it, it's fine. I'll just ignore it. The chat can just go on and I'll just ignore it. No, because you are responsible for your show, including what happens in your chat. So you need to shut it down. So that's where block happens. Block kicks them out and they can't come back into any of your shows. Now, if you reporting is really important. If the behavior was such that you wanted to block or remove, think about not just you and your shows, but think about the community at large. Do you want to go into a future show of one of your friends and see that person come in and do the exact same behavior that they did to you in their show? The only way that we can protect the Whatnot community is when we all participate in reporting inappropriate behavior. So, um, reporting is about platform accountability. Um, if you see something, say something. That's what Kenny always says to us. If you see something, say something. For the practical, um, in a live show or in DMs, tap the user's avatar and use the report option there. After reporting, if needed, block. So you want to report first and then block. Um, so so you want to block to protect your space. You want to report to protect the platform. So let me show you. Melody, I'm sorry, I'm going to use you as an example again. So there's Melody's. I'm in my live show. Hang on, boop it back down. I'm in my live show. The chat's going, and Melody's getting out of hand. Melody, you're getting out of hand. I'm not actually going to do it to you. Um, you will see I've got all these options, and here's block, and there's remove from show. If I click on that, it's probably going to ask me to confirm. I click on that, and I do not want to. If I click on that, remove from show, it's going to ask me to confirm. I hope. I haven't done it in a long time, so I can't remember. But you click on that, confirm, and then Melody is kicked out of the show. Um, I do have an iPhone. This is my Android. It's pretty much the same thing. Let me just look. Yeah, it's the same thing. Let me see if I can, hang on. I'm going to open up my camera. I'm going to do it old school, and I'm going to open up my camera so you can see what I can see on my iPhone. All right. Do you see what I see? Okay, let's see if I can show you. Can you see that? Wait, there it is. Block or report. Oh no, wait a second. No. Oops. Ah, see. No, I don't want to block. Why don't I see remove from show? I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Moderators only have the option to block or report. Yeah. Well, you should have remove from show. Um, but that's interesting. I didn't see that. I have to unmod first. Oh, okay. Good point. That makes sense. Remove moderator. Now I'll try. Yes, there we go. Okay. Yes. So now I see you're right. Sorry, Melody. I had you modded. That's why. So now it says remove from show or block is down at the bottom. Um, on iPhone, remove from show and block is down at the very bottom of the screen. On Android, it's over here. So you would click on remove from show. Let me moderate you again. And that will, yeah, you can't boot your mods. You got to unmod them first and then you can but you can block them. You can block your moderators. That's interesting. Um, so so then you can block or remove from show. Okay. So remove from show. They can come back into one of your future shows, but they can but they but and they can but they can also come in and listen to the show that you just removed them from. They can come in and listen. They can't chat and they can't bid, but they can come back in and listen. So don't trash talk them after you kick them out. Um, block. Block. If you hit block, that blocks them forever. Forever and ever. If you're a moderator, you want to remove them. You want to remove them from show because blocking them basically just blocks them from you. But then there's the important one, which is report. Um, you want to hit report before you hit block. Okay. So if you're a seller and you don't have a moderator, um, hit report and then it's going to come up with, sorry, Melody, I'm not actually going to do it. It's going to come up with a whole list of reasons why you're reporting Melody. Don't report Melody, everyone. We're just giving an example. All right. I'm going to catch up with the chat. Everything you get close. They can also message moderators, and if you remove from show. Yeah, they can DM you afterwards and say, "How dare you remove me from show?" Blah 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 blah. But then that's harassment, and then you can report them from your DMs. PB&J says, "I've heard that after a whatnot investigation, if it was unfounded, whatnot sends you the whole report, and the people who reported are listed." No, they do not. In fact, if you reported me today just for shits and giggles, and it was unfounded, then whatnot would just send you a message and say, we've reviewed it and we've gone over community guidelines and we've taken action as appropriate. That's what they won't even tell you whether or not they took action. They'll just say they will have taken action if it was appropriate. They won't even tell you. Um, whatnot will look at the clips to see. Yeah, if you report in show, they will look at the clips to see. This is what the trading card people are saying. Some people are good. So, if trading card people, if you reported me, I would not see that you reported me. It's totally confidential. It's one of the most important parts of trust and safety for whatnot is that if you report someone, that someone will never know unless you tell two friends and they tell two friends and that gets back to the seller. Right? It's the only way they're going to know. The seller does not receive, if the seller is getting punished, they will be told why they got punished, and what show it was from and what the community guideline that they violated and what their penalty is, whether it's they're shadow banned, so they're not going to be seen on the For You page. It could be that they're suspended. It could be that they could have their commission price increased. If they're premier shop, they'll lose premier shop status. There's all kinds of options that whatnot has at their disposal. Um, so that's the reality. So no, they don't. No. So the trading card people that are saying that are probably just trying to get you to stop reporting them. And here's the thing: is if it's unfounded, whatnot's going to see it as unfounded. Whatnot is fairly fair. I will say that whatnot is really fair to sellers and buyers. Although You know, I had an unfair review. It's unfair. I didn't do anything wrong. This person is hurting and they've decided to hurt others. But you know what? What not said, it's fine. It's within community guidelines, and I'm just going to live with it. I'm going to live with it. I've answered it. I've answered it professionally, and I'm just going to live with it because that's what you need to do is answer professionally. Do not, if you get a bad review, if you ever get a bad review, that's my like very first one in 3 years. If you ever get a bad review, when you respond, take take a breath, come back to it before you answer, okay? Because I've seen some sellers who immediately answer the bad review and it's like and I'm like, yeah, wow, okay, that makes you look bad now. Yes. Yes, Krista, the review that I packed too well, that's the one. Yes, but it's okay. I'm all right with it. You know what? It is what it is. I'm okay with it. For like a millisecond was I like, but you know what? I'm okay with it. Um, Trendy Thrifter says I haven't been replying to my reviews. Are we supposed to? If it's a negative review, I would reply to it. Some people reply to all the reviews. I don't. Sorry, everyone. I love you, but sometimes I'm just so busy that I don't have the brain doesn't have the words to say, and I feel like the words are just not going to come out right, and this is going to sound like BS or something. So then, you know, I appreciate all the reviews that I get. I love you guys so much. So I say you should respond to the negative ones. Um, oh, yeah, that's not fair, Sorella, because I mean, they get warned when they come into the show. If they're a US buyer and they get warned. Um, okay, so let's get back to it. So we've talked about removing, blocking, and reporting. It's all available from the live, and it is better for you to do it from the live. Now, if you're in the middle of selling and you don't have time, PB&J, thank you for the tip. You are so sweet. Um, Creations by Lydia says, what about buyers that go to multiple shows at the same time and they don't care about any specific item? They just like the low prices and outbid everybody. It's an auction. Every time while they don't just buy bulk to resell, making the atmosphere so nice. The thing is it's an auction. It's an auction, so you know you're gonna have people that if the prices are super low, they're gonna buy. They're gonna buy, and um, if nobody else is willing to bid against them, they win. So if you really want something, just I would recommend that instead of keeping to hit the bid button, put in custom bid and write your maximum bid, and then Whatnot system will automatically bid for you, and then you're not it takes some of that emotion out of the swiping. That would be my recommendation. But you're gonna it's gonna happen. There's a lot of folks who are there are resellers who sell on other platforms who come into my streams. I do low starts, and oftentimes really good stuff goes for low amounts, but I I know that business risk. I know what I can make off of it, and I'm okay with that. That's my particular business model. So I will literally say, hey, you know, you can probably get like 3 times as much for this on eBay. I will literally say that because I acknowledge that I'm selling to resellers. Um, yeah, yes, you're right. Yeah, Elvery Vintage says I love selling to resellers. And you know what? Yes, I mean I understand it's frustrating. Like live auctions, right? It's frustrating when you get outbid by somebody who you know is probably going to sell it on, but um if you're a collector, collectors outbid resellers all the time because they know the value of the stuff that they want. Um yeah, and AS Rerun says if you're buying at the price that's set, all is fair. Yeah. So so I think there's a resentment that some people have about resellers, but just remember you're buying from a reseller. I'm a reseller, right? Thank you, go with the flow. I'm a reseller. So I go to auctions and I buy, and I'm buying box lots, and someone may have a resentment against me for picking up all the crap that they didn't want, right? Yeah, resellers work hard to bring everyone. I spend a lot of time going around finding good deals so then I can pass on those good deals. Um, Creations by Lydia says, yes, but not when you have buyers that appreciate the item and they could not care less for them. But then again, you don't know for sure, Lydia. You don't know, that person may be a reseller, but they may be buying that item for their grandchild. Like, they have an entire life. They have an entire life. So you can't make that assumption. I think that's really important, is that we have to remember that people are not one dimensional, and that we have to acknowledge that. And also, as a seller, I want the bids. I want the bids, and if someone's willing to pay the money for the stuff, I appreciate that. So I think that one of the things is to remember that it's an auction platform, and sometimes you're going to get outbid by somebody who, yeah, may not, you may think they don't love it as much as you do, but you have no clue because you don't know them. You haven't met them. You don't know anything about them. That's an assumption you're making. And it could be quite unfair, because I know for sure that there is one person who buys a lot from me. And oftentimes the things that that person spends more money on are things that are personal, that are for actually personal life, not for reselling. They're actually for personal life. So when you get outbid, don't assume that that's just because they're going to turn and make a profit on that. Oftentimes they're buying it for themselves. So I think it's really important that we not box people in, right? Just like we shouldn't see someone and say, oh, that person is gay, that means XYZ, right? We shouldn't say, oh, that person is a reseller, that means they're XYZ. There's assumptions is what is harming our entire world right now. I Spy Collectible says, I find joy knowing that I can pass along something that can help someone build a life they dream of, whether that's to keep and love or resell. Absolutely. Um, yeah. Okay. So let's get back. Let's reset, shall we? Let's reset. So we talked about blocking. All right. Kyle, are you ready for me, my love? I'm almost there. I'm sorry. It's took a while. Um, so protecting your energy and mindset. And the wonderful Kyle from I Spy Collectible, Deals on Style, I Spy Luxury is going to come on and help me out with this part. Um, I love you so much. So now we're going to get to the inside part. We're going to talk about protecting your energy and your mindset, because even when you handle the situation correctly, it can still throw off your energy. That happened to me on Wednesday. Sometimes the hardest part is not what the person said, it's about what happens in your own head afterwards. One rude comment can stick in your mind. One weird comment can replay for a long time. One awkward moment can make you suddenly feel flustered, annoyed, embarrassed, distracted, or self conscious, which I think I felt all of those things. We'll call it the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5 stages of negativity. um, Thank you, Beck. So that's totally human. It's exactly what happens. Thank you, I Spy. There's actually a psychological reason for it. Okay, our brains are more likely to latch on to a negative comment or threatening moments than neutral ones. And there's one reason. A single disruptive comment can feel louder than 20 supportive viewers chatting with you afterwards about it. And it doesn't mean that you're weak, it just means that you're human. But as a seller, you need to always get your focus back if you can. So, this is why I wanted to bring in Kyle's perspective, because what he shared with me when we were chatting um, a couple of days ago, a day ago, yesterday, we chatted about this yesterday, was so thoughtful and very practical. And he's got so much to offer. So, Kyle said to me that it can be very jarring to receive a comment that throws off the energy of a show. He said to me, early on, those moments used to fluster him, and he felt like he had to deal with them immediately. And I think that a lot of sellers will relate to that. Because especially if you're newer, your instinct is you need to fix this right away. But Kyle says, and I'm going to let him talk more about this. I'm not going to read everything he said, but yes, I'm going to skip a lot of this. Hang on. So you are the host and you are in charge. Everyone may get to make a comment, but you decide if this is your safe space. So I want to bring Kyle on now to talk about how to create and keep your safe space, and how to he's going to be amazing. I love you. Okay, here we go. Invite to co-host. There we go. There we are.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, I'm flipped around. Hold on a second. Oh, I'm on the wrong phone. Oh my gosh. Hold on. You're down here. All right. 1 second. See me in the tech.
Please hold.
Let me switch around. Hold on.
Trendy Thrifter says, I think I've been spoiled on this platform because I've only had amazing people in my life.
Turn this one up.
And yeah, Trendy Thrifter, you're gonna find that like we're echoing.
I'm sorry.
Hang on, let me turn down. I mean, I've done so many lives over the last 3 years, and I very rarely have had any issues. Are we matching? I can't see that.
I did do a little matching moment. Hold on a second. I'm not all ready for you. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday, everyone. So I loved your intro where you said that you wanted to wear some sparkle because we are talking about something that may be a little negative, but adding a little sparkle to it adds the sparkle that we want to add to our spaces. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on. I absolutely love all of your shows and everything that you do. So it's such an honor to speak with you today. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? My name is Kyle. I'm from Ontario, Canada. I'm part of I Spy Collectible, Deals on Style, and I Spy Luxury. We've been reselling for about 6 years and live streaming for 4. So we have been on another platform and then have transitioned over here to Whatnot. So if you are new to our channels, we carry vintage to antique home decor. We have men's, women's, and kids clothes, and we carry some really cool vintage designer. So make sure you bookmark those upcoming streams. I really wanted to come on today because I'm gonna scooch so my face is here, not in the comments. I wanted to come on because I'm super passionate about creating those positive spaces and allowing our spaces to continue, to talk about protecting the peace. Sorry as I stumble on my words as we get going. Whoops. And just fall apart, period. But I think it's super important. It's something that hasn't come easy to me. It's something that I've learned as I've gone along the way. So I thought it's super important to just share the experience that I've had along the way, and if it could help anybody as they come across something, then I hope that those words could help them navigate those moments so that they don't have to have those uncomfortable moments live. So you were mentioning what? Sorry, go ahead. I think where did we leave off?
So some people are saying they can't see you.
Oh no, am I still?
And the audio is echoing. You might need to turn.
Okay, I'm gonna get John. He needs to help me. Can you help me with the tech, please? I need help with the tech.
Sorry, Deshawn.
The tech.
Thank you, Deshawn. We love you, Deshawn.
All right, Deshawn's gonna help me. I don't know what I did wrong. I thought I was going to be streaming on a different phone, and then I think that's what's got me all switched around. But that is the basis. We're live. Things happen. You have to just go with the flow. So we're gonna keep it positive while we work through those little moments.
Yesterday, the other day, one of the friends had a stream. Oh, hold on, switch videos, and they had the wrong phone. How do you do it? I've never done it on this platform. Other platforms, it's just a button.
But can I just not be on that phone, or how does it work?
Martin says when Corey and I did this, one person had turned volume still echoing. Yeah, I turned down my volume as low as I can go. I don't know if it's sound is coming on the second phone, maybe. No echo now. I can't hear Deshawn at all, or Kyle, or anybody. Please hold, everyone. We're gonna get back to this. Only one host. That would do it. Okay, let me know when you come back. Please stand by. Oh, that's why I lost the host. It doesn't tell you. It doesn't say, hey, guess what? Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you. You know what? This is all part of the fun. There we go. Boop. I booped you. Thank you, Trendy Thrifter. They match the bling. The bling. I like this.
What is happening?
I like this jacket so much. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Turn direction of phone. Oh, flip the camera.
I don't know. I can't even see.
No echo? No echo?
No See, it's on this phone
No
now.
echo. Oh,
Just-
no,
just-
I give up.
All right.
No, no,
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
it's okay.
All right.
Okay,
Tell
here's
me
what
what
we're
you
gonna do.
tell me what you hear and what you see. So,
All right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to mute myself, and because this is your part, and then you go.
all right. All right. So, I am so sorry. I was sleeping. I thought I could handle the tech myself, but I wasn't 100% set up, but that's okay. So I did. I had two devices, and I was trying to like see on this one and then have the other one. Now you see the floor. No. But some people see me. Okay. You're good. Okay. All right. So my first advice about anything, if you are flustered, and whether it's a comment or whether it's something like this, you can take a moment to breathe. You are live, but you don't have to have that reactive moment where you're like, oh my gosh, we're falling apart. You can verbalize and say, okay, you know what? Something is happening. We're dealing with that. I'm seeing that some of us can see me, but some of us can't see me. All right. Perfect. Maybe not. Maybe you have an echo. I'm so sorry. I'm going to kind of just roll through with what I was going to talk about. And if it is a little echo or echoey, just maybe try to turn your volume down. They're both muted. Maybe I'll mute this one. Can you hear me if I mute that one? Now it's better? The volume's off on this one. So I'll talk slowly. Okay. I turned the one device off.
Is it good?
Okay. So I'll just talk slower so that there's less of an echo. I really, truly apologize.
Don't touch this one.
People were looking at the floor. So, perfect. So thank you. So I would say the biggest thing that I've learned that kind of has made a change since I first started live streaming, when I would come across something that would fluster me, we're reading it. So we're really just like being like, oh, I can't hear you. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you look really handsome today. Cute butt. And you're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. But you read it. So your face reacts. You're like, whoa. But you could read that in your mind and just be like, okay, did I just read that correctly? So it's not about necessarily reacting right away, but being like, okay, so I just read that now. What are the things that I want to say about that comment? So I can be reactive right away, and I can be like, oh my gosh, why would you say that? You can be like, okay, thank you for saying that. I appreciate your kindness. This top here, I think, is even cuter. And if it kind of persists, you can mention how maybe that's making you uncomfortable. Or there's been a moment, I would say that's one thing where I have been live where I like completely crumbled. I had somebody that was going on and on about my looks and how they were enjoying the show based on that part of the show. And in that moment, I didn't know what to do. I literally started crying, and I didn't know why, because at the end of the day, they were being kind, but I was already vulnerable by being live. We're putting ourselves out there, and then that person didn't know how I was going to react to that. So I took a moment. I stepped off screen. I was like, I need a moment for me. And whether that means I just need to take a moment to step off and reset, or you can reset on camera. It's about taking that breath, creating the space that is your space for you to protect, and then as well those people that are in the community in the space. So not always is it going to be something that is like a body comment. Maybe it's a negative about the room. So it really is just about reiterating. I agree that sexual harassment can go both ways. So it's there are ways to compliment somebody without necessarily sexualizing it. So I often relate it to the clothing that someone is wearing today. I'm like, oh my Lanta, that outfit, you look so fabulous. As always, I'm not, or it's just less about like, you look beautiful, or like you're like, there's just different ways of kind of verbalizing how beautiful someone could be without making it in a sexual term, or sexualizing somebody. I think, hold on, the other notes were on my phone, but I won't touch the other phone. I think the next point was, or Kim, can you just let me know what your second question is, love? And I need my tea.
Okay, we're gonna test the echo while we're here. I think we're good for the echo now. So
how do I pause?
Hang on. So you said, so one of the things you said was, you take a few deep breaths and you reproach the issue with from a kind and understanding place. And I think that's a really important shift, is to like make sure that you are we're echoing again.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your question.
That's okay. So you said that you take a few breaths and you approach it from a kind and understanding place. And that I think that's such an important shift that you are saying, okay, we're going to address this issue, but I'm also going to be kind and understanding to the person, because I don't know what's going on in their life in this moment. And
I think
you probably have more to say about that.
Compassion is the greatest way to approach it. We have no idea what someone's day is looking like. Maybe they're saying it in a negative way, and it can be perceived as they're trying to ruin the room. But perhaps this person is having a horrible moment, and they're being vulnerable, and they just want to share with you. So acknowledge that they're saying something. I'm so sorry you're having a really bad day. Let me know if there's something I can do to help out. Reach out in DMs. I would love to communicate further, but don't jump straight to this person is a troll. 1 second. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. What, is that a dog?
No. One second, folks.
Alrighty, sorry, we have a new puppy and this house is crazy. So the joys of that as well. So I remembering to approach it with compassion. There's been a lot of times where I've had people who, not on this platform, but I've had people who are like, oh my gosh, make sure you're not having that person in your room. They cause drama. They're a negative person. But the way that I approach them, I've never had a single issue. So if you approach somebody with kindness and you're approaching them with understanding, you're not going to be met with that resistance. If you are automatically assuming that this person is going to cause issues, or that this person is going to be a disruption in your room, you're feeding that energy that person is probably looking for. But if you meet them with kindness, they're like, what more do I have to add on to this? Thank you. Let's all take a breath. So one thing I love to do as well, if we're getting to that point where we're like, we're flustered, I shake it off. I shake it off live. We shake out our shoulders, we shimmy together, and we're just like, so that is the fact. I get flustered with the lights. I'm an emotional person, so I find that I do get flustered, and it's okay to say, you know what? I'm a little flustered right now. We're going to take a moment. Like Kim had mentioned, we're going to do a reset. So we're just going to reset the energy. We're going to reset the room, and then we can move forward with the rest of the stream. Is it still too echoey?
No, I'm just not saying anything.
Perfect. No, I was just nervous if I needed to turn the sound back off for you. Good. Right on.
Okay, I'm going to ask my next question. I'm the only one that echoes, so you don't. So everyone hang on. I will say this fairly fast. You also mentioned creating a safe space in your room. Do you actually say that out loud to your chat, or is it something you enforce, but how you moderate and how you run your show? As I dropped it on the floor.
So I want to talk about my definition of a safe space. So I look at a safe space like a third space. So a third space is a space where people are not in their home space. They're not in their workspace. It's a space where they connect. It's a space where they can be creative and kind of remove themselves from the outer sides of the world. So when we have those spaces, we want to make sure that we're keeping it a positive space, that we're protecting the people who come in. We don't know who is in this room. So if somebody is saying something that is against anybody of any type of adversity, stop that right there. You have no idea who's on the other side of the camera, who's looking on this, is inspired that you are live and that you're putting yourself out there. And then they see that and then they're like, well, they were okay with it. They didn't say anything. So defend that person. Be the defender of the peace for the person, even if it doesn't relate to you. Be like, that is wrong. We're not going to allow anything like that. Personally, I've found peace with creating a policy. So often, just like now, I can't find my words. So we're flustered. We're like, I have all the thoughts, but it's hard for me to put it out in words. So I created a policy that kind of iterates everything that we're talking about. It defines what our safe space is, what is not allowed in here, and the repercussions. So if you're not gonna be following these rules, this is what's gonna happen. So then all I have to say is, hey, make sure you head up and check out our show notes. We have our policies there, what define our safe space. Make sure everybody is following those policies and guidelines, and it's gonna create a safe and happy space. And that way, I'm leaving it to the show notes, and I'm like, make sure you head up there and check it out, but you're putting down the law. You're like, listen, these are the rules. And they're not even rules I'm talking about. They're written in stone. They are real rules up here. So if you can't follow them, the first thing is you're not going to be here for the rest of the stream. The next thing, we're going to assess if you come back and you're going to continue this kind of activity, then we're going to block you both times that you would be reported, so that Whatnot has a record of what's happening with that. I can share in the group the policy that we have. So we do have a Canadian reseller group on Instagram where it's kind of like an announcement board where you can share your streams, or if you found something cool that you were learning along the way and you just want to share with somebody and be like, you know what, this used to take me 3 hours and now I can do it in a half an hour. I'd love to help everybody else save 2.5 hours. That's kind of the mindset of the room, but I can pop it in there, and that way you can copy and paste and then just pop it into yours. Or you can look at it, say, okay, this is kind of how Kyle has his setup. I'm going to put mine together in my words that are going to kind of represent how I want my space to be, because it's about how you want your space to be. Maybe that's how I've worded it, but maybe you have some other words or some ways of creating that safe space for your people. And it is in the show notes right now as well. So Kim has it up here.
I put it up there. I copied and pasted from
you. Are the smartest and the sweetest. Yes, the sparkly jacket gang. Thank you so much, Ghost Charm.
Okay.
Yep.
Next question. Hang on. I guess I got to boot back. Do you have a moment where someone came in negative and you were able to turn the situation around? And DM him, Lydia, for the Instagram.
Yes. So deals.onstyle on Instagram. I'm just afraid to pick up a phone and type it because I don't want to jump around. So deals.onstyle on Instagram would be that one there. So I would say the first time that I think I've ever had anything happen, I would say the chat has been the biggest rally for me. Like before, like you were mentioning as well, and people in the chat, oftentimes the chat realizes what's going on in the chat before the reseller. So to see everybody defending you in those chats also kind of gives you that the confidence to be like, whoa, we're gonna jump in there and say something. So I think the first time that I really realized that was when you put yourself in these vulnerable moments and you connect with these people. They're here to protect you. They will jump in there and be like, this is not allowed. I'm losing my words so much this morning, sweetheart. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
But oh no. Because I had everything written down and now I feel so thrown that I don't have notes, and I'm just like, well, that's being prepared for you.
No,
so I would say
you're good. You're saying great things.
Sorry.
We're talking about turning the situation around when it becomes negative. How do you turn the situation around and get things moving? Is there something like a go-to saying that you do?
Again, a lot of the time I like go back to saying, hey, here's the policy, and then we go back to being something positive. Say, let's talk about how your day's going, what's going on, what's new, is there something exciting happening this weekend? So very similar to like the emoji party that would just kind of move those things up and out of the way, but just kind of getting back into the flow of things and keeping it upbeat, keeping it positive. I think that you made a really great statement as well, that just like the way that you interact in your show is going to kind of mimic or bring in the same type of energy as well, or how you are representing yourself in the streams when you're visiting other streams. If you're jumping in there and adding kindness, someone is going to then maybe see that you're on, and then they're going to come into your show and know that you appreciate those happy Saturday comments, or just jumping in and saying hello. So I would say be the positive energy that you would like to attract to your space as well. Oh, Sorella, thank you. And I would say it is very uncomfortable to come across these moments because they don't happen so often. So it's really good to have these conversations. And even if in these moments we stumble to find those words, I find that having the conversation of finding the words together is going to help us towards that goal in the end. So even though it's uncomfortable right now, and I'm like, oh my, you're like, this man is stumbling over his words. That's what I think the takeaway is, that it's okay to stumble. You can be like, you know what, that this is a flustered moment. I'm going to take that fluster. We're going to shake it off. We're going to bring it back to that positivity, and making that space is more important than having the options. For myself, Whatnot has become my family. I live in a very small town, and I don't go out and hang out with friends. I don't have the clubs and the cool museums and the things to go do. So I come here to hang out with my friends. This is where we share our passions. So I want to make sure that my space is like home for people. So the same way that you would, if someone came into your home and was starting to be rude to your friends or your family, you're going to be like, this is an absolute no. These are the rules. This is the respect that we all have for each other. And if you can't respect that, then we're going to ask you to leave respectfully. I'm never going to just be straightforward rude to someone. I don't like jumping straight to blocking because I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe today's a bad day. Maybe something happened right before this and I have no idea, but tomorrow they're going to come kind. So don't jump straight to thinking that one comment one day is a representative of something that someone is going to bring the whole time. Again, we've had many buyers that so many people have, like you, there's like the Reddits and the things and all those things. Again, I would not say that I've had issues with any of those types of people that people talk about, because I don't allow that energy. If they start to try to act in a certain way, I shut it down. I'm like, this is how we run our show. This is how we do this. No, I don't do returns. No, I don't do exchanges. It's part of my policy. Sorry, I always relate it to a policy, because as our society is built on rules. So if I say this is my rule, it's going to be harder for someone to be like, well, I'm like, well, that's the rule. And for myself, that's been the easiest way to be firm without being presumptuous or assuming about things. I use my policy to say, this is the guideline. And I find that most people are very respectful in that aspect. There always is going to be that one person that maybe doesn't quite match that energy, but remember to show them kindness and love. So tell them that you hope they have a really good day, that the day gets better, that you're sending them a big hug sometimes, or ask them how they're doing. How's your day going? You know what? Take a moment and just be like, if they have something super negative, be like, hey, you all right? Do you wanna have a little chat or something? It's okay that's not bringing in negativity to the moment. It's bringing in that vulnerability. So if this person is struggling with something, let me know. Maybe someone else in the chat is also struggling in that sense, and then that forms a connection. And this person feels like they're part of the community because there's somebody else who's going through the same thing. So I think that it's super important to have compassion, to remember that you're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting the community, and that overall your piece is important. So if there's something that makes you uncomfortable, or if there's someone who is trying to lead the show, you can say, this is my space and this is how I would like it to be. Please be respectful about that.
I love that. I forgot I was muted. I just realized.
Do
you know how to mute?
Yes.
From Whatnot?
The three dots?
The three dots, and then hit the mic.
Okay.
And just leave it up. You don't have to see my face. Just leave it up.
Okay.
And then, okay. I think I'm not echoing anymore. Okay, perfect. So basically, when I stop talking, then you can turn the mic back on. Does that make sense? Hopefully that'll work. We can hope. Okay, I'm just gonna ask the last question. Sorry, Kyle. I love technology. It's great when it works. What advice would you give to a new seller who gets flustered when the chat goes sideways? Which again doesn't happen very often. But new sellers may be worried that it's going to happen, and so they're fearful of going live because of it. What would you say to them?
The community is always going to be there for you, first and foremost. That if anything in the comments, that community is going to start telling that person that that's not okay. Remember that you can take a breath. Remember that it's okay to if you need a moment to step off, because you're live doesn't mean you owe them to be live every second. You can say, you know what, I just need a minute. I got to a point where there was one comment that I can't remember it specifically, but I read the comment and I was like, I'm gonna think on that answer for a few minutes. I'm gonna respond to that. I do see that, but I'm just gonna think about what I want to say before I say it out loud. So just give me a few minutes while I think about my response. I really appreciate that question. It's just gonna take me a quick second while I get my answer. And then that removes the fluster. That removes the panic of finding the right words that I'm looking for. My brain goes crazy. All those words start rushing together and they're trying to get down the funnel and they're just like, there's a traffic jam. So take a moment and say, hold on, I gotta put this together in my brain the right way that I want to say this. It was about gender and clothing. That's what it was. Oftentimes somebody would be like, well, that's a dress. A man can't wear a dress. I love to wear dresses. And I was like, okay, this is before I started saying gender have no clothing. So I was like, okay, so how do I address this? Because I have my perspective on it, but I need to respect that somebody has their views as well. So I was like, okay, so without jumping to rude, I don't want to be rude right away. So because I just want to keep the peace in the room. So I was like, thank you very much for sharing your perspective. For myself, this is an item that brings me confidence. This brings me joy. And I support anybody who finds an item that brings them joy. So while I appreciate that you maybe not want to wear a dress, I really would like you to acknowledge that there are others in the room who may like to wear a dress, and I don't appreciate how that would make them feel. So all I have to say, everybody, is that clothing has no gender, and that whatever makes you happy, you should wear those items. And that's it took me a long time to get to the comfortability to just be like, no. This is I would do just what happened with the technology. It would start to crumble and you're live and you're like, I'm sweating, what am I gonna do? But you just literally bring it together, and that doesn't have to be live. You can literally just be like, you know what, I just have to step off for just a second. Thank you, Beck. It's been a journey for sure. And I know that I want to just say I'm proud of every single person who has gone live. You put yourself out there in a vulnerable way. And if you have occurred, or if you've had any of these types of things happen to you, I'm so proud of you for overcoming them, for finding ways that are helping you avoid them as you navigate them in the future. This is it's not a scary thing to be live, but it is your heart is on your sleeve. You're open. You're literally live in the moment. You can't pause it. It's not like an Instagram video where you can cut out the parts that are the silly parts. So it's okay to just be okay with the liveness of it all. For the longest time, I was like worried about being perfect or saying the right thing. And it's okay to be perfectly unperfect. So if you don't know how to approach a situation, be honest and say, I've never come across something like this. Is there anybody in the chat who does have something that they could add? And then they're going to jump in and be like, I have something to say. So if you don't have something to say, it's okay to verbalize that and say that. Maybe someone in the room can help you with that. And I also want to say, if anybody asks you to try something on, you have the right to say no. You have the right to say that I can give you measurements. I can give you, I have a mannequin that I can put it on. That is not a way that does not sell clothing. But there's a difference between a person who you're communicating with in the chats who's like asking questions and they're very interested in the item and they're like, is there an opportunity for you to try it on? I'll try it on. But if there's a random name that pops in and they're just like, try it on, LOL. No, absolutely not. So if you are in a situation that makes you feel uncomfortable, say it right now and then that this is not okay. Do not try on lingerie. Do not put it up against your body. All of these requests that are coming from these people are absolutely unacceptable, and you do not deserve to have those things said to you. So make sure that you are making it known that that is not allowed in your shows. If you see it happen in other people's shows, jump in and say the same things. We have measurements. We can help you in other ways. That's not an appropriate way to ask to have something sold. It's something that I see a lot. I've seen it for years on different platforms. Never is it a requirement to try something on. You have to be comfortable for yourself. So don't do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable.
I love
I
that.
love that. I love you, Kyle.
I love
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Thank
appreciate-
you.
I
I appreciate your time.
I also just
Everyone,
have this
please
here as well.
follow
I
Spy Collectible. I Spy Luxury. Oh, I repeated it twice.
I'm still just
I
gonna
Spy
hold on.
Collectible. I Spy Luxury.
Deals
Deals on stock.
And
Thank you again, Kyle.
Sorry, I'm also just going to pop this up real quick as well. It's just some resources. If anybody is having a bad day or needs anyone to talk to, there are lots of people that are able to listen and have great resources for you. So if you also, there are so many programs, big cities, small cities. If you want to grab some of these things, it's great to have on your show as well. If maybe you don't have the answers of somebody sends you a message and you're not sure how to respond or how to give the best answer. You don't want to give advice that's not the advice that you know the right or how to say it. There are so many resources, so make sure that you're also sharing some of those moments as well. Just to have a quick on hand to pop up and say, you know what, if you're having that super bad day, I've been there. It's I'm so sorry. First of all, I'm sending you a hug. I know it's not helpful in this moment, but perhaps in the future, if you ever need to call anybody, here's a number. And I know that that's not exactly what we were talking about, but you never know. That's about the assumption of whoever is on that other side. It's not necessarily always coming from hate. It could be coming from hurt. So make sure that you always lead with love. I think that's where I'm going to end things off.
I love that.
All right.
And
Well,
actually, it's a
so
perfect
much.
segue.
All right.
Love you.
Bye.
Love
Bye
you
for
also
now.
so much. Thank you so much for everything this morning.
Love
Thanks for
you.
helping me shake it off.
Oh,
Love
I
you.
just dropped the phone.
I think that's the theme of the show. Drop the phone.
Drop the phone.
Okay. There we go. Hi, everyone. Sorry. I'm sorry about that. Yay. Thank you so much, Kyle. I love you. Everyone, please follow I Spy Luxury, I Spy Collectible, Deals on Style. Kyle and Tishan are absolutely amazing. And I really appreciate you sharing your experience and your strength and your vulnerability. I think it's really important. Kyle and Tishan have been were pioneers in live selling on other platforms before they even came to Whatnot, like years and years. So like they've been through it, and Kyle is showing you can be really experienced and still be vulnerable, and it's okay. It is totally okay. So I really want to thank you for that, because I think it was really important to bring in someone else's perspective, especially for someone who's been selling for as long as you have. So I appreciate that. And actually, what you said at the end was actually a perfect segue into my next section. Yes, we are all human beings. This is a section that I want to handle really carefully, because it does matter. And as Kyle said, we need to lead with kindness, not rudeness. We can't answer rudeness with rudeness. We need to lead with kindness and understanding as much as we can. So how can we do that without diagnosing someone or excusing harm? So sometimes inappropriate or disruptive behavior by somebody can come from a place of distress, dysregulation, intoxication. We've seen, drunk whatnotting, a loneliness, poor impulse control or some other struggle that we can't see and we don't know. We're just seeing the words that pop up in the chat, right? We're not seeing everything else that's going on in their lives. We don't know what someone's gone through that day. We don't know what kind of day they had. They could have been fired that day and they're just really down and upset, or they got really bad news. We have no idea. So that doesn't mean that if someone is disruptive in your show that they're mentally unwell. No, that's not what I'm saying. And it definitely, you should not be diagnosing people in the chat. We should never do that. We're not, unless if you are a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a therapist, the only time you should be doing diagnosing is in your office, not on Whatnot. So even if you are qualified to do so, don't do so on Whatnot. This isn't the space for it. But it does mean that we need to leave a little bit of room for dignity in how we respond. So if someone seems distressed in your show and is harming the atmosphere of the room, before you remove them, as Kyle said, you can try short, respectful boundary. So I can see that you're upset. I really want to keep the chat respectful, or I'm sorry you're having a hard time, but I need to keep the room appropriate, or I'm going to ask you to pause there. I read what you said, but I'm going to ask you to pause there because this chat is getting off track. Or I'm not able to support this properly in the middle of a live sale, but I do want to keep the chat respectful. But if you'd like to DM me afterwards to share anything that you're going through, I would be happy to chat with you later if you're willing to do that, of course. You don't want to mock them. You don't want to label them. You do not want to excuse harmful behavior, but it gives them a chance to regulate and to also take a pause and step back. If the behavior does continue, it's okay to remove them because you have an entire audience to protect, not just one person. But the key sentence here I want you to remember is compassion does not require you to tolerate disruption. You can still be kind and still set a boundary. And you should avoid using stigmatizing language. So you don't want to, and I'm not even going to give examples. You want to avoid language that's demeaning, hateful, or unnecessary. Think kindness. How would you like to be approached? Because again, you have no idea what that person has been going through that day. Just say, it sounds like you're having a rough day. I hope you have a better day. If you want to chat about it later on the DMs, I'd be happy to chat with you. Create a boundary and then move forward. Another thing that I've seen in shows, especially if you do chat shows, sometimes people, and remember the thing is we build a community and we build friendships and people feel very connected to us. And so oftentimes you will hear people come in and say, they'll actually tell you something awful that's happened to them. I mean, I'm not talking about trauma dump. I mean, their favorite pet has just died or a family member has died, and it can take you off guard if you aren't prepared for that. Again, lead with kindness. And this is a moment where you don't want to quickly just go, I'm going to set a boundary here and we're just going to move back to selling. Anyways, look at this pretty picture that I have to sell you now. Look, I've got an elephant. No, if someone says, I just lost my dog and I'm really sad, you want to acknowledge it. You want to take the time to say, and it's rare, but it does happen. Someone says, you want to say, I'm here to sell, not counsel. Sure, that's true. But completely ignoring the person can feel cold, both to them, especially, and the rest of the room. So there's a middle ground. De-archivist Heidi says, I pause and ask the insomniacs to drop hearts and mention their loved one's name. Yeah. What I often will do is say, I'm so sorry to hear that. What's one, and I do this in person to people when they tell me about they've just recently lost someone. I always ask them, what's your favorite memory of that person? What's a favorite memory that you have? Because it actually switches gears and they get a chance to remember something happy. And it just and it doesn't dismiss the grief. It says, I understand your grief and I want you to share something wonderful about this person or this pet that you lost. And then other people in the chat are going to pop up and say things and send their support. Um, Trust me, on Whatnot, if you say you've lost someone or your pet, especially your pet, everyone is going to come in and send you tons of love. So this is a moment where you don't want to be, yeah, okay, that's nice. We don't talk about that here and just move on. You want to, this is your community, okay? These are your friends. If a friend came over to your house, if you were hosting a party and a friend came over to your house and said, I'm just popping in because I have to go to a funeral, but I just wanted to pop in and thank you for the invite. But I can't stay for long because I got to go to a funeral because my dad died. You're not going to be like, all right, see ya. You're going to take a moment, right? So why not do the same thing in your show? I'm not talking about taking 10 minutes. I'm talking about taking a moment. Um, so if someone says they're struggling, I'm going through a hard time, I got really bad news, my car just broke down, any of those things, we all go through that stuff. And if we as sellers are dismissive of it when someone says it on air, um, then it dismisses everybody else who immediately reads that, and has the brain instantly brings a memory of your own to the forefront. So unless you are a sociopath, you are going to feel that feeling too. So your viewers are feeling that feeling. So you want to acknowledge everybody's feelings at that moment. But then you can acknowledge and then move on. So the middle ground is to acknowledge briefly, warmly, with kindness, and don't turn the chat into a therapy session. If your chat starts supporting that person and saying things, you can say, oh my God, you guys are so awesome. Thank you for all the love that you're showing her. That is so great. I really appreciate you guys. I just love you. I'm sending you lots of hearts. I hope that things get better, whatever you want to say in that moment. And then you can move on. And your chat will continue to chat about it. You do not need to stop and read everybody's comment back, right? Leanie's Creation says, when someone is feeling very alone, the Whatnot community can be very helpful and supportive. Absolutely. This is what we want it to be. We want people to feel safe coming here and sharing things without feeling like they're going to get that are not allowed to share. I want people to come into my room and if something happened, I want you to tell me about it. Again, we're not going to spend half an hour on it, but we're definitely going to talk about it. Thank you, Amy. Um, so I'm really sorry you're going through that, is one line. Yes, don't be like, oh, isn't that too bad? No, like actually, if you're a jerk and you don't mean it, don't say it, because it's going to come off totally wrong. As PB&J says, be genuine. So I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that with us, is one of the things I usually say. Sending you kindness today, sending you love today. I'm really sorry that things are so heavy right now for you. And then you can gently redirect. So I'm going to keep the show moving, but I really wanted to acknowledge what Cindy is going through. And Cindy, I hope that you have support around you, and please take care of yourself today. These are all lines that you can say, and then you can continue on with the show without making it feel like you're a cold SOB. And Beck says, and those in the room that can relate may reach out to that person privately to connect. Exactly. Lainey's Creation says, I experienced it this morning, and I am so very thankful to have the support on here, because it was and is something I very much needed. Oh, I'm sending you lots of love. Lainey, sending you lots and lots of love. The sparkles are distracting me. So, hey, hi, Amy. Yes, it's the whole thing will be on YouTube. We've been on for over 2 hours now. When I do one of these shows, it goes on for a while. Okay, so here's another one. And again, this doesn't happen very often. These situations don't happen very often, but I want you to know what to do and be prepared, or at least have heard it so it's in the back of your mind, right? If someone talks about harming themselves or others on the Whatnot app, what can you do? This is a moment to report. Whatnot actually has a system for this, for emergencies. If someone says that they are considering self-harm or harm of others, you can hit report. All of us can, all viewers and sellers and mods can click on somebody's little dot and then hit report, and then they can select emergency, and they can put in that this person has just said that they want to harm themselves or they want to harm others, whatever the emergency is. But it's only for emergency situations. The tone needs to be really clear about this, because again, your entire chat is seeing this, right? So if someone expresses that they want to harm themselves or others, take it seriously. Take it seriously. Unless they've got an LOL beside it or a laugh emoji, take it seriously. Do not debate it. Do not minimize it. Do not joke about it. Do not treat it as attention seeking just because it happened in a live chat. If for Canada, I don't know about the United States, but for Canada, the current federal guidance is if someone is in immediate danger and needs support, you should recommend to them that they call 911. If someone is thinking about ending their life, they can call or text 988 in Canada, and support is available in Canada 24/7. It's different in the States. You'd have to Google it. So in a live show, your response can be simple and serious. I'm really glad that you said something to us today about this. If you're in immediate danger, please call 911, and it's 000 in Australia. Thank you, Beck. And if you're in Canada and you're in crisis and you're thinking about self-harm, please call or text 988 for immediate support. And you can just write those little, like the 988, if you don't have that memorized. The 911 I think we've all got, right? But the 988 you might not have that memorized. So you can always just put that on a little sticky in your space. It doesn't happen very often at all on Whatnot. So this is like a very in the lip fancy tiny that it might happen. I just want to have you prepared for everything. So you can then report the user to Whatnot through the report feature as an emergency. This isn't going to harm their status as a buyer on Whatnot. You can also report if you see something in a live show that looks like an emergency. Either someone's actually looks like they're having a heart attack live, and that's happened on Whatnot, or they're expressing violence or self harm or harm to others. You can report that too. And Whatnot is not going to penalize someone for this. This is not one of those going against community guidelines. If they report self-harm, like they're going to harm themselves. If they're going to harm others, that's a different story. But if they're expressing self-harm and you report it to help get them help, Whatnot does have connections to all the different emergency authorities to do something about it. And they have staff on 24/7 that work on this. So if you hit the emergency button, their staff are going to be on it very quickly. So make sure though that it's an immediate danger, so that an emergency services are appropriate. You don't want to just use it all the time. There was also been a police raid on a seller. Yes, she's in the room right now. She got swatted. Someone inappropriately reported, but that wasn't through Whatnot. But yeah, so but the reporting feature, if you think that someone is going to self-harm or harm others, if they say that in a show and they're serious, or they're doing it in the chat. So anyways, back to this. Seller behavior matters too. This is really important. When sellers are under stress, it can be tempting to turn the room against the disruptive person, to mock them, to rant, to make them a villain of the night or the day. I would caution you really strongly against that. Even when someone is difficult, you as the host should not become the bully. Because the moment you start humiliating someone for entertainment, you have lost the moral high ground and you have changed the tone of the room. And that's not what you want to do. So yes, set boundaries. Remove people if you need to. Report and block when you need to. Do it from a place of leadership and not performative cruelty. That difference matters. As Kyle said, lead with kindness. Think kindness first. You don't know what that person's gone through. And maybe today was a bad day and tomorrow's going to be better. So block isn't always the first option. However, if it's hate, that's a different story. So, right. That's it. That's all I have to say. If it's hate, it's a different story. So let's go over again before I go. I think I'm near the end. Oh, thank God I am. I wrote way too much today. Before we go, let's go over again some deflecting lines sellers can use. So I want to close with this practical part with a bunch of usable lines that you can use in your shows, because this is the kind of thing that you can just write down and come back to and keep nearby. So general reset lines like, okay, friends, let's reset the room, or let's reset the show. Okay, friends, let's get back to the fun. We're moving forward. Thank you for that comment, but we're moving forward. And let's keep the energy positive. Now, I highly recommend flooding the chat with emojis to push the negativity away, so it's not front and center, especially for you as a seller. If it's stuck there while you're trying to sell and you're still seeing that negative comment, you want to flood it away. So you say, everybody, all my friends, can you please flood the chat with emojis right now? Let's show all our emojis and let's show some happy emojis. Let's make it all about emojis. Thank you, Pickles. You're awesome. I love those purple hearts. Or just say, drop some hearts. Everybody put in some hearts into the chat. So we're just saying, let's push that negativity right out of the way, right out of view. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you so much, Dee. I love your hearts too. And that instantly brightens the room back up. Vintage, peacock, ooh, blue hearts from D. I love it. And some refocus lines. Time hop, you got the itsy bitsy teeny weeny pinky polka dot bikini. I love it. Time for the emoji party in the chat. Exactly. Thrifting with ADHD's mind's blown. Lainey's got hearts. Creations by Lydia's got hearts. Beck's got the cutest little flowers. I love it. I love all you guys. I love it. And that just instantly changes the mood, right? Like instantly. Oh, look at this. Dawn to Dust Musing his gives crown saying, wishing you all find many grails. I love that. Peacock's getting pizza delivered. I can't wait to meet you in person too. I'm so excited. I'm a little bit nervous because, TSA happening right now, but hopefully, yay, awesome. Okay. So then also refocus lines. So you can say, okay, next up, I've got something really good. So again, you're gonna acknowledge and then move on. So let's get back to the items. Who's ready for the next item? Or I want to show you something really special. Okay, we had a moment there. I want to show you something really special. This is like one of my favorite pieces. Is it okay if I show it to you right now? I'm going to show you right now. And then you grab it. I have this isn't my favorite piece, but you know what I mean. So if someone says, lines for disappointment. So if someone expresses disappointment and that they didn't win and starts to go negative, you can say, I know losing a bid can be frustrating, or auctions can be emotional, but let's keep it respectful, please. And very important, you can literally just say, please don't take this out on the winning buyer. This is an auction. If you get trolls, it's really important. Don't feed the trolls. As tempting as it is to feed the trolls, don't feed the trolls. We're not feeding that energy today. That's enough. It's not happening here. We're moving on. Beck, are you coming? Are you coming to the summit? That would be so awesome if you are. Partnership with Meta Glasses. Oh, that would, no. I don't know if I want Zuckerberg seeing everything I see. It's a good idea, but I don't want him seeing everything I see. Also, I don't think they look very stylish. I need them to be like this kind of stylish. I'm picky. As picky now. um, uh, Yay! Oh, that's awesome. One day, yes. Hi, Global Stamp Network. How are you? So, if there is sexualizing or flirting or that kind of inappropriate behavior, it's this is a selling show. I've said, this is, thanks so much, but this is whatnot, not OnlyFans. Or I've been asked for feet, so I'll say it's whatnot, not Feet Finder. Try there, you'll have better luck. You can say that comment is not appropriate. That's important to say. That's not appropriate. And sorry, wrong lane. We're here to sell. Okay, PB&J, love you. So if you see intolerance or hate come up in your chat, we don't allow that here. Set that boundary. It's really important. If you read the show notes, Kyle's the rules that Kyle has written out, you can take a shot on that. Thoughts on muted words. I only have podcast and Trump as my two muted words right now. Dee, but I think that if you're someone who is in a vulnerable community and you are getting frequent inappropriate comments, you can actually set it up when you set up a show. Thank you, Dee, for reminding me of that. Let me just minimize for a second here. I'm going to show you. I can figure out how to do this with one hand. Minimize show. Let us go in to schedule show. So when you go to schedule a show, you scroll down. There's a section right here. Can you see that? Muted words. If you turn that on, you can add in whatever muted words you want, like Trump, send, and podcast, send, and applesauce. Applesauce. So you can add in any of the muted words. So if there's something that you're seeing frequently, yeah, it'll work fine here. I just set it up for another show. If you do that, so when you mute a word, it's not going to show up in that show. So if I was to set up this show, let me see if I can, hang on. Let me go back into the show. So when you set up your show, you can actually create, and it will just show up as red chat. So let me just see what muted words I have in here. It's not going to let me, is it? It doesn't let me when we're already live. You can, you have to, so if you set up 10 shows at a time, if you do repeat shows, then I don't have anything muted for today. So you're not going to see anything unless you say any of whatnot's muted words. But I've actually done it as a game too, where like you have to guess, if somebody in the chat guesses the muted word of the day, then I'll give a coupon to everybody in the room. I've done that before. I did that over Christmas. I had 2 muted words, and so everybody kept guessing, and it was kind of fun, and it kept the chat going. It was kind of fun, all the things that people were coming up with. It's totally fun. So you can't set them up while you're live. No, because I just tried and I cannot. It does not have that option. You can set it up. You can if you're on your computer, right? On desktop. Yeah. On desktop you can, but not on your phone. And let me just, that was on Android. It's not available on iPhone either as an option. So if you can go to your desktop, and if somebody is saying, if you're getting like a group of trolls that are coming in and saying the same sort of thing, for example, a word, like a trans slur, if you don't want that, then you put that in. Oh, that's interesting. The new thing that they're doing. Interesting. Okay. So using that can help to block some of that. Now you still see it, and your mods will still see it because it will red chat. So if everybody type in boobs right now, sorry, but type in boobs and you'll all see, whether you're modded or not, you'll see, oh, Peacock didn't get, not boobs is fine, but boobs up by itself is okay, is not okay. That's so weird, isn't it? You taught that to Peacock. So there you go. And so those kind of, if you mute that word, then it's going to come up as a red chat. So you as a seller are going to see it, and your mods are going to see it, but the rest of your audience is not. So that is the that's the thing. The F word doesn't mute. No, I guess they just discovered that now it's more such a common term. Don't say sorry, Globes. It's all good. Global Stamp Network. We're having fun. We always have fun here. Okay. Ow. This is starting to hurt. Okay. So I'm just going to go through these lines again. So lines for mental health. If someone is, it seems like someone is upset, or they're having a hard day, or they've had hard news, you can say, I'm sorry you're having a hard moment. but we need to keep the room positive. If they have said something that they've lost someone or they've lost their job, don't just ignore that. Make sure that you say, I'm sorry that that's happening to you right now. I'm sending you lots of love. And look, the chat is sending you lots of love too. I hope things get better for you, or tell me a happy memory that you have of, or what's your favorite memory of the person you just lost. And then you can move on, acknowledge, show kindness, and then move on. All right, so this is what I want to end with, and then I'll take questions if anyone has any general questions about selling on Whatnot or whatever. I'll take questions. So I want to end with this. A great Whatnot show isn't just about selling items. That's really important. We're not just on here to sell items. This is more than that. It's about building a room people want to come back to. Pickle says, I like to say healing vibes sent. I love that. Yeah, healing vibes are sent to you. You're trying to create a room where people feel welcome. You want to create a room where people can have fun, that people are respected, and your buyers are respected, especially, where winners feel good and bidders feel appreciated, and a room where the occasional negative moment does not get to define the whole experience for you as a seller and for all of your viewers in your room. That kind of room doesn't happen by accident. It gets built and it gets protected. And kindness does not mean tolerating harmful behavior. Boundaries do not mean that you're being rude as a seller. Compassion doesn't mean you have to lose control of the room. It means being a steady host. It means understanding the difference between disappointment and trolling and harassment and distress, and acknowledging those appropriately. You need to know when to acknowledge, when to redirect, when to remove that person from your show, when to block that person from your future shows, when to report, and when to just simply take a breath, reset, and bring the room back to selling. So this is what I want to leave you with. Your show is your space, and you as the seller set the tone for your community. So thank you. If this has helped you, please bookmark my future seller chats. I'm on Fridays with Fashion Fridays, where we chat with a fashion seller, but we talk about all things to do with selling on Whatnot. And then on Saturdays, I do these topic shows. Next week, I think, is going to be my monthly topic show. And thank you for answering the question, everybody. You guys are awesome. And I hope you just keep building the kinds of communities that you're proud of and that people are proud of. Creations by Lydia asks, what would be examples of trolling? How can you tell when they do it on purpose? It'll be stuff like, you're ugly. Your glasses look stupid. You're fat. Or, oh, hubba hubba, I wanna you. Or yeah, Dee says, I can get it cheaper at the swap meet. Okay, go to the swap meet then. Bye. Go to swap meet. Yeah, exactly. So you'll get to know, and if they say it with an LOL, that's one thing. But if they come into the room and they're instantly like, you look stupid, or you're the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, it's adult bullying. I have noticed in the past that, like, March break is coming. March break's here in Canada. We're going to have some kids who have nothing better to do because they're bored to tears, and they're going to come onto Whatnot and try and cause some trouble. Every March break. Beginning of summer break happens every time. So when that happens, just acknowledge, set boundaries, remove. And report as necessary, especially if they're very inappropriate. I know those meddling kids. Exactly. And Dee says, I get that a lot on Whatnot. One time someone asked if the host had any used socks. The chicken ice cream. I know. Yeah. I always refer them to Feet Finder. I say, sorry, no, don't have any Feet Finder. Yeah. And D Archivist says a very important tip. Do not read their comments out loud. Don't read it out loud. Yeah. You kids get off my lawn. Exactly. So thank you so much. Thank you to I Spy Collectible for coming on. Kyle, I appreciate you so much for coming on and sharing your experience, strength, and hope. I appreciate everybody. I think I've managed all the questions. Let me just double check that I haven't missed anything. Uh, yes, I think I have. I've managed to. Thank you. I love you guys so much. Let's find someone to raid. Let's see who is on right now. Raid. That's Canadian A. We've done Michelle. Solus, we've done Shanimation. Rebecca, we've done. Oh dear, we've done a lot of these. Let's go. Oh, here we go. I haven't been into these. I don't think I've been into these folks. Wolfpack Jewelers. I haven't been here, so we're gonna go here. Thank you guys so much. I love you guys so much. Have an awesome day. And oh, Genji's on. Oh, sugar plums. Oh, too late. I'm sorry. I already did this. We are going to go into Wolfpack Jewelers. They're selling gold and silver jewelry, and I will see you Tuesday. I got lots of packing to do this week. You guys were very generous and bought a lot of things, so I got a lot of packing to do these next 2 days. So I love you guys so much. Have an awesome day. I'll see you on Tuesday. Bye for now. Be kind to one another.